Please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. Well, welcome in, everyone, and good morning. This is the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. How you doing this morning, boys?
What up? Good morning.
Doing great.
Great. That's better than
Great.
Good or fine.
Yeah. You know who was doing great yesterday?
Who?
My dog.
Really?
Your dog.
Here's what I do. So I get off the show and I go to check on my dog Lufa, right? And I see there's cardboard all over the ground. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on here? So I'm like, there's a little piece of cardboard. I grab him. I go find Luffy and she's just chewing on one of her toys. I was like, oh, nice. Like, no problem here. But then I look at it and I'm like, what is this toy? I've never even seen this toy before. Right? So I go into our guest bedroom, which is always like closed, look in the closet, and Lufa managed to, while we were doing the show, find her Christmas presents. And she picked herself out a new toy to play with yesterday during the show. Yeah. No joke, dude. That little rascal.
She scooped you.
That's
she
hilarious.
scooped us, bro. And
Straight
now,
up scooped you.
right? And now we have to go and buy her. I mean, she's still got plenty of toys to get for Christmas, but I told
No
her,
punishment?
I mean, what are you gonna do, dude? She's playing with one of her toys. It's like that's what you want her to do, I guess, right?
She doesn't know.
She's kind of just spoiled Christmas for herself, but we're gonna get her new toys anyway. So she
kind of just got away with one.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying she had a great day yesterday, right?
She deserves it. Lufa deserves it. I've never even met Lufa, and I'm so positive that she deserved that toy yesterday.
Lufa's had a tough couple weeks, so she needed that.
Maybe I'll bring Lufa on for an appearance on the show later for everybody.
I mean, you and your wife just abandoned her for how long? While you were in Europe?
Yeah, like a million years, pretty much.
Yeah, right.
I FaceTimed in though. I FaceTimed in just like I popped into the show. She was she had a blast while we were there. She was with my mother-in-law hanging out with her uncle Rudy. They were playing Bitey's They were playing Bitey's the whole time, dude.
That's pretty funny. Yesterday, right after the show, guys, I went outside to go wash my dog's paws off because it was muddy as hell, right? Like so muddy. And I'm outside on the front porch and I closed the door behind me. And there's this weird phenomenon in Texas. I thought it was just me. And then I started seeing TikToks and Reddit posts about it where sometimes your doors don't fit. They just stop fitting the door frame randomly.
It's like a heating up contraction thing or like expanding contraction.
There's some science behind it, but the doors don't always fit. And so I go outside and I close the door behind me, wash off my dog's paws, and I go to go back in and the door doesn't open. The door doesn't open. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me put like the towel down and really try this. Like, turn. I can't get it. I'm like on my toes, putting all my weight into this.
And the dog's outside?
The dogs are outside. Nothing's happening. The door won't move. I'm like, oh, shit. And all I have is my phone. The gate is locked. So I can't get out of my yard, but I can't get into my house either. And so I just start walking around the house praying a door is unlocked. I get to the back door and everything's locked. I can't get in. So now I'm just thinking like, okay, as long as the deadbolt's not locked, I can break in, but I need to find something to break in. I don't have my wallet on me, so I have no credit card or gift card or anything to like get the lock with. So I start digging around and I'm ripping pieces of cardboard off of things in our storage shed outside. And I'm like trying to jam it open, but the cardboard's ripping. And now I'm like, what? Like I'm literally trapped in the yard. I can't even like get out of the yard and I don't have my wallet. I have my phone on 40% battery. Like it's going to be very limited what I can do before my girlfriend gets home from work, like tonight. And so I dig around in my car and I find the only things that will help me get in. I have an LCD sound system CD and a Taylor Swift CD. And I know one of them has to be sacrificed to get into the house. And so I grabbed the Taylor Swift CD and I went up to the door and I started like sticking it in the door and I hear crack and then I hear crack and it chunks of it start falling off and finally I get into the house, but I had to sacrifice my 1989 Taylor Swift CD to get back in. I'm sorry, T Swift.
You're gonna get us canceled on Twitter, bro. Like the Swifties are gonna come for us.
I know.
The LCD sound system Twitter, they're not as aggressive as the Swifties. You don't. If I've learned anything, you don't mess with the Swifties. You don't mess with the Beehive.
The Beehive, yeah. Well, funny you guys should say that because after the show yesterday, I left my office and had a totally normal day. Nothing happened.
Wow, dude, that's wild.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, the thing with locking yourself out of your like everyone at some point should lock yourself out of your house or your apartment so you can test the vulnerabilities of your
do a little pen testing on your own house.
Yeah, like if I was gonna break in here, how would I get in? I mean, I figured out how to get in my house, and I think it's safe to say any criminal getting to that point, I would probably hear him. But yeah, you gotta do one of those tests, and just so you know for yourself.
It taught me. Ooh, I'm going through puberty again.
It taught me.
Because you don't have that Taylor Swift CD, bro.
I know.
You reset, total reset. Bro.
You reset.
I better watch out for Best Buy employees. Got access to all those CDs, and I better lock my deadbolt.
You better.
I better lock my deadbolt. We got some people in the chat ready for the show this morning. Freddie. Good morning, gang. What's up, Freddie? Welcome in.
And gang. What up, Freddie?
Tommy in the chat.
Freddie with the sunglasses this morning.
Freddie with the sunglasses.
Freddie? Good morning.
We got Tommy over here saying lots of balls this week, so I won't be too wordy. Who gets the win? Will it be Geno or Purdy? Hey, I appreciate you not doing a Purdy wordplay in there, just taking the name for what it rhymes with. I'm sure we'll get some later. And he said, so you had a backyard nightmare versus front yard fantasy. Yeah, it was a little bit like a backyard nightmare. I truly thought I was just going to be stuck out there and till like 6 p.m., maybe climb the fence, but then what? I'm just on the outside of the fence. I feel less.
Now you're locked out of two things.
Exactly. Now I'm really gonna look suspicious. I was also afraid that like people were gonna see me trying to break into my own home and think I was breaking into my home. But luckily no one was out there seeing us.
I do that in my old apartment on like legit my first date with my current wife, where we got back to my apartment and I was like,
you like want to come in?
I'm locked out. And my neighbors were like in their yard. I was like a little drunk, and I had to be like, "Hey, just a heads up, I'm not robbing this place, dude. I'm just trying to bring this chick home. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go through the window.
Don't call the police.
Don't call the police. All right. See you later.
Did she go through the window, or did you go in and open the door?
I did. Inside? She gave me 10 fingers. She picked me up like this, just threw me through. No, I went through the window. That's a man's responsibility.
Yep. I was just curious if she also climbed in the window and
pulled
left the front door locked. Yeah. or if you like went and unlocked the front door after that.
We both went through the window. It's more fun. She had to go through a different window. It was like a
who could get there first?
More fun that way. It was a race. I won.
Obviously.
We got Spooky over in the chat saying good morning. What's up, Spooky? Welcome in.
Okay.
And Freddie in here coming in, letting us know a little bit about his team. Said I lost Lamar and Stevenson. Picked up Fields and JK from the wire. Not bad, my friend.
Beautiful.
That's pretty good getting those guys on the wire. 10-man PPR, 6-point passing touchdown. Tua versus Fields and Rashad White, Swift, or JK. Rest of season in the playoffs with a bye. So he needs to know, should he be starting Tua, who's had a couple rough games there, or Justin Fields coming back from injury and playing against one of the tougher defenses in Philly? What are you guys rolling with between those two quarterbacks?
I'm starting Justin Fields personally. Just, for the rushing upside, the way that he seems to be generating his points is just breaking off a big play, and it's hard to game plan for that. It's hard to stop for it. And he's got that speed. Tua is going to play in a pretty contentious situation here, right? Going up to Buffalo, freezing cold, gonna be snowing. 8-point underdogs, low over under. Don't love that for
low over under for the Dolphins and the Bills, right? Those two teams. I know, but that tells you how much Vegas is expecting that snow to impact this game because these are two high-powered teams.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes when the weather's that bad, it's the team that just has the tank that wins, right? And Josh Allen's been up there playing in the Ralph, dude, and the guy, he is the tank. So
we'll Devin single tank.
Devin single tank. Let's go. James Cook. Smell you later. Too small.
Tank Beasley.
Too small. That's why they brought the bees in,
Beasley. That's why they brought the tank in.
I tried to fit tank in there more creatively, and then I just gave up.
Good. Tank Beasley. So, I like that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start Fields, and then White, Swift, or JK rest of season in the playoffs. Oh, so he has a bye. What are we talking about? What are we talking about this week? It's rest of season play. So who do you like rest of season out of those guys? I think I like Tua rest of season.
Yeah. I think I prefer Tua rest of season. Fields this week, but Fields is a great start after that. Out of those running backs, that's a close one. I think it's going to be DeAndre Swift for me if I just have to pick one rest of season out of those guys. But man, that's close. J.K. Dobbins is very tempting after that first game back. Yeah. 18 PPR points, looked pretty good, 15 touches. You just hope he gets that burst back, right? Because the way they used him, I could see it just being him and Gus Edwards each getting 10 to 15 carries. If it's a less run-heavy game script, then maybe we don't see as much JK. But this week, which doesn't matter for him, this week JK's a slam dunk play against the Browns.
And the good thing for Freddie is that he's got the bye, so he can see one more week of this Lions team. Like, are they going to do the 3-man split again with Justin Jackson in there? Yuck. Or does it go back to being Swift getting 50, 60% of the snaps, and then we really like Swift again? So if it goes back to what it was the week before last, then you're in on Swift. Otherwise, you have the luxury of checking it out. And from the quarterback perspective, it would be a lot closer if it wasn't 6-point passing TDs. If it was 4, then you're like, okay, just go for Fields with the rushing. But with 6-point passing, I think I still like Tua.
That's a good point. Kind of ignored that point in the question.
And that's why I love when people give us the full information with their leads.
Swift, JK, the order I put those guys in. This is kind of interesting, though. Would you guys play Tua in week 16 over Justin Fields, who's going against Buffalo? Tua's going against Green Bay.
Yeah, I'd play Tua.
Yeah, I think I'd play Tua.
Playing Tua over Justin Fields?
Yeah.
I don't like playing guys against Buffalo, if possible.
Buffalo's good. Dude, and Justin Fields has Philly this week. So Philly, Buffalo, and then Detroit. That's like awful, amazing.
Yeah. I think he's going to do all right in this Philly matchup. This Philly defense, while great, hasn't been unstoppable against the run. He's been, and that's what Justin Fields, that's where he makes his money, right? He makes his money running the football. He's capable of 150 plus rushing yard games. So I don't think this Philly defense is necessarily built to perfectly stop Justin Fields. So I think he's going to be all right. I think he's going to be all right for fantasy this weekend. Guys, everybody listening, it is that time of morning. I hope you brought your own breakfast because we got everything else. We got the news stories. We got the topics. You guys just need to BYOB. John Luke, did you bring any breakfast this morning?
Oh, I brought some coffee and
the juice cup.
Some cereal. Let's go.
What kind of cereal?
You drinking coffee today?
Special K.
Special K.
Do you usually drink coffee? You do?
Yeah.
I knew that, dude. Totally knew that.
Just spend every morning together, Coop.
You did drink tea
for almost 80 days.
You did drink tea one morning on the show.
I don't. Did I?
You did. You had a tea.
I've had tea. Yeah, that was on the
that was
JJ
with JJ show.
Yeah.
That was when I was in the chat.
That was the afternoon. Tea is usually an afternoon treat for me.
An afternoon delight.
You should be used to that, Coop. You were in Europe. You were in London. Don't you drink tea now?
Foggy London town, dude. I went to the most pretentious tea store there's ever been.
Tea store.
I can't remember.
I can't imagine they call them tea stores.
Dude, this was like a tea emporium. Like
there we go. That sounds more like it.
Everybody in there was wearing suits, and like, dude, this guy. I was like, I gotta get some tea for my father-in-law, and the guy was like hitting me with all these tea facts, and I was like, I think he likes them when they're like kind of sweet. He was like, he's like, okay, just one of these two. Like he was like so excited to like guide me on this tea journey, and I was like, I don't even drink tea, and I don't even know what tea he likes. How about something? What's your favorite?
He's just watching him deflate.
He was so mad,
just
dude.
Deflated in front of you.
He was like, it's like when somebody comes up to about football, and I'm like, oh yes, football conversation, and then they're like, so what do you guys think about Brett Favre? And I'm like, oh, this guy actually doesn't know anything about football. So
He knows about Brett Favre.
I'm like, okay.
Or when you're sitting at the bar in Baltimore and the guy next to you in the jersey unironically says that Joe Flacco is the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, and you're like, huh, I guess this isn't the conversation I'm going to be in.
That's never happened to us.
Never happened to me. Never happened to me at all.
Let's come back. We'll go to that same bar and see if he's there.
Coop, I had a period where I got really into tea. I didn't like drinking it that much, but I loved the idea of loving drinking tea. So I like started doing all this research, and I bought these fancy teas online, and this way of like this little, I forget what it's even called, but it's like a little device. It's basically like a glass bowl with a lid that you just pour loose tea in and then boiling water over it, or the right temperature water. Then you have to like hold the lid at an angle without the tea burning you as you like pour it out quickly into this cup. And I never really got into it. I just spent money on it and then have like containers of nice tea and this weird thing sitting in the closet because I thought it seemed like a good idea.
Dude, I kind of wanted to become a tea guy. The name of the place was Mariage Freres or something like that. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, am I about to be a tea guy? The people that get way into tea and coffee get way into it. We had Yankees pitcher, or he actually just signed with somebody else, Jameson Tyone, on our other show, on the Wednesday show. And dude, we had him on for probably an hour. He spent 20 minutes telling us about coffee and just like French presses and like how like into it was. Dude, I was impressed by his knowledge, but at the same time, I was like, we brought you on here. You're a baseball player. We brought you on here to do a fantasy football draft. Why the heck are we talking about French presses? And
like what you like.
Yes, you do like what you like.
Guys, I saw yesterday going into tonight's game, Ian Rappaport tweeted out that the Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker should play. So good news there. The 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel is out for about 3 weeks for San Francisco. So we're going to see Ken Walker on the field. Could play. Deebo Samuel out for 3 weeks. We will not see Deebo on the field tonight. You starting Ken Walker, full confidence if he's out there and playing? We're getting this report from Ian Rappaport that he should be playing.
Full confidence? No.
We never get, it's never perfect, right? Like we never get what we want. Like why can't one time we just get like a good matchup for this? Like it'd be nice if he was playing like the Texans and then we would just be like, yeah, let's do it. But the 49ers, right? Same with Dallas Goedert. It's like, they're like, oh, he's going to play. I'm like, look at the matchup. All 3 teams he plays in the playoffs are top 5 teams against the tight end. So it's just, we can't have nice things. Can't have nice things.
Can't have nice things. They ruin everything.
Nope. Can't have nice things at all.
Well, so where do you draw the line on Kenneth Walker then? So let's say he's a full go, right? Or at least
don't you dare make me play a name game right now.
I'm thinking about it. Like would you start him if you had to pick somebody in this game? So you have no choice but to pick him or Jordan Mason.
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker, yeah.
Would you start him or Rashad White?
Rashad White.
Okay. Would you start him or Zeke Elliott?
Zeke.
Yeah. So probably avoiding him if possible then, I'd say. Because, I mean, how much lower can you go here? Would you start him
how
or...
low can you go?
How low can you go? Could you start him or Pierre Strong?
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker.
Yeah. Would you start him or... Gus
Raheem
Edwards?
Mostert.
Raheem Mostert. Interesting one. I would start Kenneth Walker.
Me too. And the one you said before that. I forget.
Although Jeff Wilson's out. I'm pretty sure.
Jeff Wilson is...
I'm still going Kenneth Walker in that case. I'm still throwing Kenneth Walker in there. It's a tough matchup. He's coming back from injury. But
snow game. Maybe they just run the heck out of him.
Kenneth Walker?
Oh, sorry. I was thinking Raheem Mostert. I just thought the opposite of what you said.
Yeah, unless it's snowing in Seattle tonight, which I guess Seattle's pretty far up there. It could snow in Seattle. It's on the ocean though, so ocean, snow, weather, science, snowshin. Yeah, exactly.
Do you know why it rains so much in Seattle?
Water in the sky.
Water from Puget Sound.
That's it.
Yeah,
water from the sky. Nailed it.
There's a weather effect called the rain shadow effect that happens when you're next to it's very specific, but if you have ocean, so Puget Sound is actually part of the answer. You have ocean and then mountains and then like a city next to it, the water comes in, condensates, and then when it hits the mountains, it immediately cools down and then just dumps water on whatever's on the other side of it. So it's the shadow of the mountain that causes, that's why they call it the rain shadow effect. And that's why they get crushed. And there's a few cities like that around the world that just get absolutely smoked with rain. But it usually doesn't end up snowing there because of that. But
interesting.
More rain.
Go there in the summer. It is beautiful. Barely rains.
What a great place to build a city.
I think they would have thought of that.
Just wait till that big wave comes. You got that mountain to protect you though, dog. That's what's up.
Or just be your backdrop to make you get flooded more.
Yeah, I mean, like in my mind, like we could have scooted a little bit over. Know what I mean? Like let's just scooch
Push
on
that
over
mountain.
here. Like it seems like after the first year, whenever they're like, man, sure freaking rains a lot here. Like they would have been like, maybe don't keep building houses right here. Let's scoot them over a little bit. The city planning commission that they definitely had upon the founding of this place that is Seattle.
Why don't you write them? Why don't you write them a letter?
I will. I'm gonna write them a letter.
Tommy says you live in a place where your doors lock you out.
Oh yeah, this is not in defense of Texas. What I'm saying right here.
Got him, Tommy. That's a good one.
That makes. I was gonna say earlier when you talk about the doors, that makes for very interesting yet unpredictable bourbon that comes out of Texas. Sometimes it could be a little bit hot because those barrels expand and contract like crazy. Yeah,
Gotcha. I was like, what does my door have to do with bourbon?
Simon's door. Simon's
say,
door is the reason your bourbon tastes so good.
That's what they say. Well, yeah. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of Texas bourbons, but they
one door closes, another one opens.
Sometimes. Other times you're just stuck.
You're just stuck.
You're fresh out of Taylor Swift CDs. You're stuck.
As you see, the Saints are claiming former Texans and Cardinals running back Eno Benjamin off the waivers. Still alive, man. He's still alive. If you held on to him this long,
interest level.
You're welcome.
You've wasted a lot of time.
I dropped Eno in a dynasty league yesterday, and I think that's why he got picked up by a team. I had to decide between him and Darrell Henderson on who was going to be the drop. I picked Eno, and so Eno's the one who got signed, of course. I'm fairly confident had I picked Darrell Henderson would have been the one that got signed.
Yes, that's how it goes.
So you're welcome, Eno.
The Texans lost Dameon Pierce. They knew he was hurt, and then they cut Eno Benjamin.
That's what I was. Yeah,
that's why I dropped him.
Come on. My interest level is 0.0.
I'm a little bit higher than Coop at 0.01. Just see what happens here.
But your threshold for rostering players is 0.02.
Exactly. That's where Darrell Henderson is. So he got rostered. Eno Benjamin out of the lineup, my friend.
Smell you later, Eno.
Smell you later, Eno.
Yeah, I want to
another time.
I wanted to talk about a little trash talk, if you guys are cool with that. Did you guys see what a little Texas trash talk, in fact, from Micah Parsons? You see what he said about Jalen Hurts trying to get under his skin a little bit?
No, I saw Jalen Hurts clap back, but I didn't see what it was.
The original trash talk was Parsons calling him a system quarterback. Yeah, dude.
What the heck does that mean?
Well, so that's always been like the insult for guys, like the default insult for guys that are playing really well. Like they would always say that about Tom Brady, that like, well, it's that offensive system over there, the Erhardt Perkins system that, that's the only reason he's good. He's got a good coach and, it's all in the plays. It's not in the player. Right. So that's what you basically say when you have no excuse for why a guy is so good. So,
hey, Micah, what happened with the Texans, bro?
Oopsie.
What happened with that Texans game, though? I thought that was a system QB. What happened with Dak and that against that Texans defense?
And to be a system QB in the NFL at that level, you still have to be an incredible QB. Think of all the system QBs that have come out of college. Like AJ Murray was a system quarterback at Georgia, and he came into the league AJ McCarron, straight out of Alabama, another system QB, garbage. Like, we get these system QBs that find success in college and then come into the NFL and can't quite cut it, right? It's not, you can't just be a college level system quarterback and then make it in the NFL. Like, dude, Micah, come on, get your insults together. Like
the whole thing about what we do in this industry is ridiculous in itself. Because like Baker Mayfield at worst is what, a top 40 quarterback in the whole world, and there's like 6-7 billion people. Like, he's still amazing. It's like that time. Did you ever hear about the Brian Scalabrine challenge in Boston? Dude, Brian Scalabrine. Do you guys know who that is? All right.
No
idea.
So Brian Scalabrine was a white basketball player, and now he works for like Barstool Sports, and like he has like he works for a bunch of different places. But he played for the Celtics. They called him like the White Mamba and stuff. He wasn't that good in the NBA, right? Didn't really put up a ton of points, but like, this guy's funny, right? He's like a personality now. In Boston, he came on the radio and he said, "I'm tired of people talking trash," because everyone's like, "This guy sucks," like blah blah blah. Because I'm tired of people talking trash. He goes, "Anyone that wants to play me one-on-one, we'll have an event. You come down and we'll play." And he, no joke, held this like open event with a local radio station. It had people come down and just proceeded to obliterate every single person one-on-one in basketball. Every single dude that showed up, every YMCA legend and like local old man hoops league player, and just proved once and for all that like, you're not better than the worst NBA player, not even close. He did not, I don't think he let up a single point. It was amazing, dude. The Brian Scalabrine challenge. Every professional sports athlete across the world probably looked at that and was like, yes, finally somebody did it.
That's hilarious. Did you do it? Would you go do it, Coop?
Not a chance, bro. This guy, dude, the guy's unbelievable. Like, think about this guy, man. He's a professional basketball player. I think he's like 6'8", dude. And when you watch these guys warm up, like, they don't miss from three. Like, if you take Ben Simmons in the warm-ups, he'll go like 8 of 10 from three. That's how good these guys are, man. They shooting from half court. He's 6'9". Dude. I'm not going to go play the White Mamba in one-on-one, embarrass myself. No chance.
No, absolutely not. That's hilarious, though. I mean, but predictable, right? To even have the talent to make the league is absurd. Absolutely absurd. That being said, AJ McCarron, you suck. I'm just kidding. Jalen Hurts is not a system quarterback. Jalen Hurts is an unbelievably talented quarterback. And Jay, what did he say back to Micah Parsons?
He just said, "I'm worried about the Bears right now." He's like, "I'm worried about the Bears right now. Taking the high road." Just probably right with an insult like that.
It'd be awesome if like they weren't even playing the Bears this week. He was just worried about Bears.
Yeah. Listen, man, I'm focused on the Bears right now.
They could come out of anywhere, bro.
We got Will in the chat said, "I won this bye week. Next week I have my anchor, Derrick Henry versus the Texans. 200 plus yards again, I hope." Let's go. Derrick Henry.
It's a lock, right? Derrick Henry just does it. 200 yards against the Texans. That's his MO.
He does.
I wonder what the props are set at for that one.
I wonder if there even are props for Derrick Henry rushing yards. They probably set it like 108 yards or something preposterous like that, but where you still are tempted to take the over.
For this week, it's only set at 89 versus the Jags.
Okay.
Did you guys take the over on that? Tempted to sprinkle a little juice on that?
Kind of am.
I don't know. When it's that high, I just I understand which one's more likely, probably the over, but I just can't touch running back rushing props that high.
Last time we did the prop bet challenge for when he played the Texans, it was like 110, and I took the over, and he had 200 yards.
Yeah,
but that's the Texans.
At 100,
89's high. 89's high, dude.
That's pretty high. And Dennis in here asking a question: start 2, half PPR, max 1 running back, Kenneth Walker, J.K. Dobbins, Chris Godwin, Gabe Davis, or T. Higgins. So he's leaning Godwin or Dobbins because of injuries and matchups. What do you guys think? So that's Kenneth Walker, Dobbins, Godwin, Gabe Davis, or T. Higgins.
Yeah. Is T. Higgins playing? What's the update with his injury? Do we have that? Heath.
Tyler T. Higgins is playing. I'll play T. Higgins, but we probably need to wait for an update on that front. Godwin seems like the lock. And then Dobbins is the other player for me that I would throw in there. But Higgins and Godwin are the two that I would want to play. But if Higgins isn't playing, I'll go Godwin and Dobbins.
Agreed. And because Gabe Davis, not that good.
Rough.
Not that good. It's a tough game. There's a lot of uncertainty with these variables here in Buffalo. Who did you go against, Simon?
Godwin and Higgins. If Higgins doesn't play, Godwin and Dobbins.
Yeah. I think I'd go Godwin, Dobbins.
It's fair.
I think I'd just stay away from T. Higgins situation right now. I think Zach Taylor just does this. I think this is a tactic to throw off the defense, honestly, because we saw it happen whenever they came here to Baltimore and played. They did the same thing with T. Higgins.
Now,
they had him suit up. They didn't say anything, and then he played like one snap the whole game.
They used to do that with AJ Green, and it would drive me nuts, bro. Like, they would just suit him up as a decoy, and he would do nothing, which is the worst possible thing. I'd rather be out because then I can put somebody else in my lineup. If T. Higgins is out, are you starting Gabe Davis or Ken Walker?
Neither. It's start 2, right?
You got to start. Oh, you only start 2. Oh, nice. Very cool.
Yeah. So if
it's just Godwin and Dobbins.
Godwin and Dobbins. It's Godwin and Dobbins. And
Godwin, Dobbins.
I'd probably start
Dobbins
Ken
is
Walker
a
over
one.
Gabe Davis if I had to pick between the two. Like, say the worst of the worst happens, you get multiple injuries in this list, I would start Kenneth Walker over Gabe Davis, I think.
I'm with you, Simon.
Just with the volume that he should be getting, shouldn't be too hard. Coop, you brought this up a bit earlier, very briefly, but the Eagles have designated tight end Dallas Goedert to return from the IR. So we're getting Dallas Goedert back, but like you said, it's just in time for a horrible stretch of matchups for tight ends, right?
Dude, this Dallas Goedert situation is like an onion that needs to be unpeeled because there's like 10 arguments to start him and 10 arguments not to start him. Like, and there's arguments on each side. Like the Bears are one of the top teams in terms of scoring versus the tight ends. So they're one of the better teams at covering the tight end, but they haven't really played many tight ends. You know, they played like Dalton Schultz, who actually had a good game, Hunter Henry, that's like it. And safety Eddie Jackson's hurt. So the matchup is kind of up in the air, right? Then you have the injury where he's coming off the IR, but it's not a lower body injury. It's a shoulder injury. So technically he could have been on the bike, on the treadmill, kept his conditioning up. He said that he didn't want to go on IR and that he was ready to play. So he could come right out and play every snap. We saw Daniel Bellinger play 64, 66 snaps coming off an eye injury. So it's like on one hand, you don't know if he's going to play every snap. On the other hand, it's like maybe he will play every snap. And then, of course, there's the fact that Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devonta Smith have been doing big things. Maybe they're just on a roll, and now he's the third target on the team. It's like you could go back and forth with myself arguing on whether to start Dallas Goedert this week. So for me, I'm probably, if I have a good player with a good matchup, I'll start that person over him. Otherwise, I'm just going to start Goedert. But it is tough. We're going to get a lot of Goddard start sit questions this Sunday morning, boys.
Gross. First week back, tough matchup. Man, that's going to be rough.
I know. But you guys have the luxury of watching me and John and Pemba from 9 to 11 if you want. See how we answer all those questions and then just copying that. So.
Yeah, I'll just tell people, go back in time, ask Coop and John and Pemba, and then come back here and ask us about Pokemon or something.
Use that Harry Potter, Hermione time thingy.
HP.
The official name, JL. I see you've been studying up on your Harry Potter.
I say, gotta get that trivia, baby.
What's it called? Anyone for $1 million. What's the name of the device Hermione uses? I can't remember, but I feel like when someone says it, it'll be there. The
time orb.
Time.
It doesn't even have the word time in it.
It's time.
It'd be lame.
Time
necklace.
Hourglass. Oh, Harry.
Harry.
That's it.
I think that's what it's called. I'm almost
time hourglass.
The time
hourglass.
Well, if it isn't Harry
Potter.
What if everything in that universe was named like that, where it just went into a random line of dialogue from the book?
the time Turner.
Harry, my boy.
Also, Spooky in here said, my opinion is that the team really wants Devonta Smith to get his 1,000 yards, so I think he'll get the most targets. And we love some good narrative. And a lot of times we do see that from time to time, right? Where players have incentives built into their contract or have milestones they're trying to hit. And a team, they won't sacrifice a game plan for it. But you'll see them maybe put a player back in for a couple extra snaps at the end of a game whenever they're close to a milestone. Depends on the team. But I try not to read too much into those narratives, but you do see it from time to time. That wouldn't be unheard of, Spooky, to have a team try to help him reach that milestone. We had a question in from Joey. Joey wanted to know Chickasee Okonkwo or Cole Kmet. Coop, where are you rolling between those two tight ends?
So I'm going to start, of the two, I'm starting Cole Kmet. I know Chig has a slightly better matchup, but for me, I lean into usage first and foremost. Cole Kmet has played 90% of the snaps in like the last 5 games, and he was played literally 100% in the last 2 games, right? The Eagles are also missing their safety, CJ Gardner-Johnson, so they have good corners on the outside, maybe a little susceptible over the middle. Chig not only is only playing half the snaps, but he actually played fewer snaps than Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper had more targets, more yards last week. He just didn't score the touchdown like Chig did. So I like both players, but if I'm starting one in my if I had to pick one to start for my team in redraft, I'm starting Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I'm with you, Coop. Cole Kmet this week against Philly. Are you concerned at all about that matchup?
Well, that's what I was just saying, that CJ Gardner-Johnson, the safety, he lacerated his kidney or something against the Packers, and he's out. So they're a little more susceptible over the middle than they are on the outsides. So I think they kind of have no choice but to go to Cole Kmet over the middle. For me, if Chig was playing like 70% of the snaps, that would move the needle for me. But he didn't even play 50% of the snaps this week, so it's not enough for me. Not enough.
That's fair. I'm going Cole Kmet as well. We got some more questions in here. Eddie in here asking Goddard or Njoku full PPR.
See though, so that's one where I'm just going to go Njoku. They both have bad schedules rest of season. Njoku gets Baltimore, which isn't of the 6 teams that these two guys play combined, Baltimore is the best matchup. And it's not even that great of a matchup, right, JL? It's like
middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack, right? But like Goddard gets Chicago, Dallas, New Orleans. New Orleans is like number 2. Dallas is top 5. Chicago, I think, is number 6. And then Njoku gets Baltimore, New Orleans that we just talked about, and then Washington. Washington's literally letting up the fewest points to tight ends. So of all the matchups, the one Njoku has this week is a good one. And he came back last week, played a full snap share, got 9 targets, scored a touchdown. Not much more you can ask for in this world than that. So David Njoku this week, especially just because Dallas Goedert is coming off injury. He could play 20 snaps. We don't know.
Yeah, you're right, man. Dallas Goedert's schedule. Ooh, brutal. I mean, Njoku's is not that much better, but
Dallas Goedert's is the worst possible, and Njoku's is the second worst.
Yeah. They're both terrible.
It's bad. That's what sucks is that then you scroll down and there are some guys that we can't trust at all that have amazing matchups. Tyler Conklin's matchups are amazing, bro. Listen to these matchups for tight end. He gets Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle. Those are his playoffs matchups. That's what I'm saying. It's it just gets better each week.
Seattle gets tight end?
They're literally they're the second worst team. It's been the Cardinals and Seattle going back and forth to see who can be worse versus the tight end. So it's any given week, it's either the Cardinals or Seattle, but they're just a tier worse than everybody else. But Detroit
wasted on Conklin.
Exactly. Detroit, it's look at Hawkinson. Look at Hawkinson had a great game. The game before that, Evan Engram had a great game. Detroit is an easy one for tight ends. Jacksonville is Jacksonville. So.
Yeah.
So it's
Jamie in here. What up? Good morning. Jamie said, I'm taking risk and fading CMC tonight and going Seahawks 5-1. YOLO. Did you fade CMC tonight, Coop? How you feel about that move?
I mean, not in what fading him in what way? Going Seahawks, betting on the Seahawks to win?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not fading CMC in any sort of fantasy league. I mean, he's top RB going against one of the worst run defenses. But I can see the Seahawks
showdown.
I could showdown. It's I could see the Seahawks pulling this one out. It's not crazy. They're not a joke team. Geno Smith is good. The defense is okay,
decent. So. Yeah, they put it together.
But sometimes you got to pull moves like that. Is everybody and their uncles going to be starting CMC tonight? So sometimes you gotta fade the public.
It's just it's tough to do that against CMC. He's one of those guys that's just really tough to fade.
It might be me and John and Pemba. We always talk about the concept of good chalk, bad chalk. That's what we say. Where it's we know a guy is going to be super high owned, is he good chalk or is he bad chalk? Like last week, TJ Hawkinson, in a high scoring game, going against one of the worst defenses for tight end, revenge game narrative. Like he was the chalk, and we decided he was the good chalk because it's a good matchup. Everything's lining up. But CMC tonight, is he the good chalk or the bad chalk? JL, I think he might be the good chalk.
Good chalk, yeah.
Right. The bad chalk is the best thing possible for you because if it's somebody that is going to be super popular, but you don't think they're going to do well, you get a huge advantage on everybody else by not playing that guy. But I think CMC might be the good chalk here.
The good chalk. I like that. And then Jamie said, would you say CMC is the AD of NFL?
Interesting comparison. He might be. I mean, I like it. I like Anthony Davis though. It's but it's just injuries and hasn't really won anything.
Yeah.
So go
ahead. Did you see Tua talking about this game this weekend?
I love everything surrounding this, especially because I'm an AFC East guy, and I don't necessarily hate the Bills or the Dolphins, so I can kind of enjoy it as a pseudo unbiased,
It's like a third party observer.
Exactly, but I'm like real connected to it because of the Patriots fan. I love seeing all the narratives surrounding the weather here, like Mike McDaniel. Like, did you see the shirt he was wearing? And I guess they're refrigerating their indoor practice facility. He was wearing a shirt that says, "I wish it was colder." Like they're leaning into it.
Did you get that shirt just for this? Oh my god!
Oh, there it is. Keith got it.
Just blasting some YG dancing.
Vibing, dude. I can't tell if he's like the man or just a huge dork.
I think he's both, honestly.
I think you can be.
You can be 100%.
So it's almost 2023, right?
I think he might be becoming my favorite coach.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing that happen. Like I'm just falling more and more in love with him.
Yeah. I love guys that interact with players like that. That's why I always like Sean McVay, because he's just like I've seen enough. Yeah, exactly. Like I saw one clip of these two guys riding the bike with like the camera rolling, and he starts walking up and he goes, "Oh no, it's 5-0." And they're like shh. No snitching. Like apparently they were talking about the cameras as being like he basically told all the players like, don't say anything important to the cameras, don't snitch to the cameras. And they're like, he's like 5-0, like just telling them like not to say anything to the cameras.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, Tua said it snows in Alabama, guys. When the media just the media is just so like focused on this snow narrative.
Does it really snow in Alabama?
It snows.
I guess
I think it's similar to South Carolina, which is it snows there, not very much, and they go crazy. Like the minute there even is like a little bit snow coming, they freak out.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Texas. When it snowed in Texas last time, the whole power grid failed.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? They get like 2 inches. Like where I live, we get a foot, and everybody still goes to work.
Yeah,
like they gotta figure it. They got to figure it out up here. It depends when it snows up here. That's the only way you get a day off is if it just snows like right heavy in the middle of the night. Then maybe you get away with it.
Craig said, "I got the shovel this morning." How many times do you think Tua has shoveled snow in his career? I thought he was going for like a shovel pass type of thing. How many times do you think Tua has shoveled snow in his career? It's absolutely zero. He's too rich for that.
0.0.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you never shovel snow for anyone but yourself, right? Unless it's like your neighbor.
Yeah. Unless it's
not like your buddy's like, "Hey, can you come to Minnesota and shovel your snow?" Unless
I guess when you're like a kid, if you're trying to like make a little extra money, that's what you do.
But he lives in Miami. What's he gonna do?
You're not doing a lot of shoveling.
He's not trying to make a little extra money. He's Tua.
From Alabama to Miami. Wasn't he from Hawaii before, or was it American Samoa? But yeah, I doubt there's a lot of shoveling in his history.
Yeah. And Jamie in there said, "Fun fact: Kyler Murray is 1-4 since the new COD game came out. Prayers to him, but now he has more time to recover and play Call of Duty."
Double XP, dude. He's gonna have every gun maxed out. Every gun's gonna be maxed out.
Be running that game. And Eddie asking, would you start Pierre Strong over ETN if Damian Harris or Stevenson are out?
Nah, ETN's locked in these days. He's playing massive snap shares as of late. Let me pull him up real quick.
Yeah, performance hasn't been there for ETN. I think that's largely has to do with just the game script. Also, him dealing with some of that tweaked injury, but I don't think that's currently affecting him.
It's not enough to play the guessing game with Pierre Strong because we don't even know. Like Kevin Harris technically played more snaps than him this past week, which is weird because Pierre Strong not only was drafted before Kevin Harris, but Kevin Harris was released. The Patriots, when they drafted him in the 6th round, when they were cutting down to 53 men, he didn't make the team originally. They put him on the practice squad. He got called back up. Now he's back on the team. Doesn't really give me the most confidence. But besides week 12, where ETN kind of tweaked his injury, these have been his snaps the past half of the season. 80%, 79%, 81%, 78, 88, 75. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. So I'm chasing that usage, and I'm definitely putting ETN in.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. You got to play ETN. It has been a little bit rough sledding, but I'm not too worried about it. Let's see. We got Jamie saying, speaking of Sean McVay, I wonder if that rookie that accidentally rocked him in the face ever apologized. It was that like Roger Carter.
Yeah,
did you ever see that?
My auntie Coop had a comment on that, dude. She's not very happy with her Rams these days, and she had hoped that dude had knocked him out so they get another coach in there.
Get another coach. Are they abandoning McVay now? The Rams fans.
I mean that Auntie Coop.
After one season?
Auntie Coop just likes to throw around jokes, but I will say, I mean, it really shows you how quick they can turn on you.
Yeah, because I seen Sean Payton was putting out some stuff this week about how he wants to maybe come back to coaching. He's been doing the circuit, where he's like, I could be interested, basically advertising to these teams, and he's saying how LA is where he wants to be. That's where he's living now, and he said he'd be tempted maybe to go back to New Orleans, but he said either one of the LA teams, if either of those became open, he'd be interested in coming back to coaching.
Wow,
okay,
dude.
Staley, I could see people getting upset about Staley. I still think that's dumb, but I see it. McVay,
look at him, dude. No, the thing with McVay is that he's also quietly behind the scenes said that he's going to retire.
Yeah,
early, right. There's been multiple comments where he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to retire." It's like, dude, Belichick coach, like Belichick is like 30 years older than him, and he's going to retire before Belichick. But I mean, you can do whatever you want.
He's the youngest coach in the NFL, retires.
Yeah, millionaire.
Yeah. Tim in here saying Purdy or Huntley this week. Wow, Tim, good morning. Getting desperate for the Scott Fish Bowl. Dude, respect. Wow. Still in it. Purdy or Huntley this week? It's got to be Purdy.
I think so too.
Yeah, Purdy has just been balling out. He's been so good, especially for fantasy, and Tyler Huntley has not. He does not have the passing prowess. The rushing floor has not really been there for Huntley. He got injured last week, which obviously affected it.
Yeah. He's
Do you even know if he's out of protocol?
He is. He's out. Yeah, he was a full participant yesterday. So he is out. It's just the upside. That's super exciting there. I go Purdy. Purdy, get it done.
Yeah. Oh man. Hey, props for getting Purdy in Scott Fish Bowl. I was pro move, Tim.
Quarterback's hard to come by in that league. Let me tell you. The fact that you still end up fab, drop that bag, man.
Scott Fish said, my son wanted to start Purdy over Tua last week, didn't, and is still mad about it, although it didn't matter. He wants to do the same this week. Purdy versus Seattle or Tua versus Buffalo.
Wow. That is, Scott, you're really getting to the point where you just got to stop weighing in on that stuff. Ian is too strong. He's too powerful. And you're just going to get yourself in trouble disagreeing with him. So I would just say, hey, you know what, Ian? You got to run your fantasy team at this point, dude. You're a grown man. You're a budding analyst. You got to make that call for yourself.
See, I was going to say something a little different here. I was going to say specifically he's not a grown man, and he's using that to his advantage right now because this is the kind of move you have to be 9 to make. Like in that, I mean that in the best way. I don't have the guts. I'm too conservative in my calls here to ever plug in Brock Purdy, the 3rd string, last pick in the NFL draft, rookie quarterback, over Tua Tagovailoa with the season that Tua has been having. Now, I'm not saying that that's the right call. I just can't do it. Like, I see the narrative. I see the way for Brock Purdy to outscore Tua this week. I'm not calling for it, though. I'm not putting it in my lineup. I think like this is the move you got to be 9 to make.
Yeah.
Like you got to be 9 to make this move, and it could be the right move. I don't even have that option to make this right call.
It's like when you go to that you go to the sledding hill with your, you go to that sledding hill and you see the ramp at the bottom, the jump.
Right. I'm avoiding the jump.
At this age, I can't hit the jump, but when you're 9, hit that jump, dude.
Hit that jump, man. What's the worst that's gonna happen?
That is exactly it. It is the jump at the bottom of the sledding hill. It's starting Brock Purdy right now.
Tell him hit that jump.
I still start Tua. I don't think I can start Brock Purdy, but that's tough.
And here's the thing about the fantasy analyst world is that like doing a spot on SiriusXM, that's like your bar mitzvah. So in my eyes, Ian Fish having already done his own spot on SiriusXM, he's already a grown man in the industry.
Oh,
so.
Scott, we need to know: are you happy that you've created this little monster, or do you regret it? You gotta know.
What if he turns into like the Darth Vader of the fantasy world? Like he was the chosen one, but he chosen one. He just turns into like the Skip Bayless of fantasy football, just like stirring the pot. And Scott's like, he's the new
counselor.
He turns into like Shannon Sharp. And Scott's like, I have no son. The counselor.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
You got to be careful getting too close to the edge. It takes to get too hot.
That's really funny. That my whole brain's just like going with narratives now.
See Craig in the chat saying, "Is Simon a wizard? Where did he come from just now?" And Tommy actually got it just right. I had to go see a man about a dog, and then on my way back, went to go open the office door, and I'm stuck.
Freaking locked
again. Out there again. And you know what? There's in the entire house, no gift cards, no nothing. So I had to go straight back to the CD cabinet. That we all have.
What'd you sacrifice this time?
LCD sound system.
No, LCD sound system's in the car. It was in the car, and I left it out there. I'm going through my CDs. I'm trying to pick
Leanne's
which
favorite
one is
DVD.
It gonna be. It was Meet the Fockers on DVD. Is what I had to use.
Not Meet the Fockers.
A classic.
A classic Ben Stiller film, Meet the Fockers. And all right.
They made a baby say asshole. That's the peak of that movie.
That movie's incredible. I forget what comedian I was watching an interview with the other day. I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about how Mitch Hedberg changed the way they thought about like blockbuster comedies. That they were driving around with him, and Mitch Hedberg asked him, "Have you seen Meet the Parents yet?" He's like, "No, like I generally don't go see those like big blockbuster comedies." And Mitch Hedberg just looked at him and was like, "Okay, it's funny as hell, man." And then he was like, if this man, who's the person I respect most in the world in comedy, is sitting here telling me that's a funny movie, maybe I'm being a snob for no reason. Right. And so like from that, I went and saw Meet the Parents, and you know what? It was funny as hell. He was right.
God, Mitch Hedberg was so funny, man. Rest in peace.
He's so funny.
Jamie said, now Sean Payton, are we going to have another Taysom Hill type player on the Rams? Yeah, it's going to be Taysom Hill.
You think Taysom Hill ends up over with Daddy Sean Payton?
I think if Sean Payton gets a job on the Rams, Taysom Hill is going to be a Ram.
I mean, if I'm using anybody, I mean, you could definitely use what's his name? That guy, Bryce Perkins, the quarterback that they have there.
Yeah,
Bryce, dude, that guy could be a serious battering ram at the goal line. Yeah, in his last 2 seasons in college football, he had over 400 carries. That would be my bet to be the Taysom Hill over there.
Not Baker.
Probably not Baker. Imagine Baker just direct snap to Baker and power football to the right side. Just
I don't think he's gonna get the same like 8 yards that Taysom Hill powers through for. Not gonna happen. Though I don't know if you guys mentioned it. Did you see Baker Mayfield was the NFC Offensive Player of the Week last week?
I love that, dude. Even though his stats weren't even that good. What did he throw for like 240 yards and 1 touchdown and a pick? Or a pick that was dropped. Yeah, I don't know. But the narrative is worth it. On 2 days, that's player of the week status, right?
100%. He showed up. They said he went through 2 10-play drives. That was all the reps he got with the team before he took the field. 2 10-play drives, go out there, lead a victory. I think that's deserving of NFC player of the week. It's not just stats. What he did was pretty wild. Pretty awesome.
Yeah. Magical.
And Jamie wants to know, did the Progressive commercial drop Baker Mayfield? Yeah. Yeah. And they didn't even do a moving out or evicted commercial.
He pitched it. He pitched like a moving out with Baker Mayfield commercial idea, and they said, nah, we're good.
Nah. Like, how funny would it have been if they did a Baker Mayfield gets evicted commercial? Know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
they missed an opportunity. That would have been hilarious.
God, it would have been incredible. I wonder if there was some issue on like the Brown side or like the stadium ownership side preventing them from doing that, because I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. It'd be so funny.
Yeah, maybe it's just too much drama around it.
Yeah, Baker would have been salty as hell in the commercial too, like in the best way, and rightfully so. But he's not one to hide that. Know what I mean? Like, he would have been like, no, this has to be salty. This entire commercial needs to be salty.
If you're a Brown, the thing is, like, if you're the last thing you want as a Browns owner is for Browns fans to see that commercial and just the sad Baker Mayfield leaving the stadium. Like, no need to do that. Really.
Yeah. Tommy saying salt plus wounds. Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's what that would be right there.
Salt in your tomatoes.
Salt in your tomatoes.
And Tim said it would be him leaving the book club too. Yeah, it would be him leaving the book club. It would be kind of rough. Leaving a book club. You guys ever been in a book club?
Oh,
not an official book club.
When I first moved to Augusta, Georgia, I had no friends in Augusta, and believe it or not, outside of Masters Week, it's the #1 most boring city in the entire world. There's nothing there. Like, you walk through downtown and it's just like, you count the abandoned buildings, not the ones with things actually in them. It's a little bit depressing. So I'm like, I don't even know what to do. I find this bookstore though, and they have a graphic novel club. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll join that. And it was pretty sick. Those are the first friends I made down there. The owner of the bookstore was cool. He invited me to poetry club too, which I went to once or twice before I realized I'm not good at this. I was just humiliated every time they asked me to read anything. But graphic novel club, me and those Augusta nerds, we were killing it, man. I'm included. I was just an out-of-town nerd. They're reading The Infinity Gauntlet was our first book that we read.
Percy Jackson.
It's pretty sick. Or what was the other one? Blankets by Craig. Robin by Craig. It was just written by Craig.
He's like Seal.
Craig.
He's like Seal, except Craig.
Just Craig. Craig.
That's tight, dude.
Needs no further introduction.
That's cool. Were they hot chicks in it?
In the books?
In the book club. I'm sure they were.
Oh no, it was just me and a bunch of bearded guys. Mostly. It's like really long beards on every single member of that graphic novel club.
Except you.
Except me. And then I was sitting there unable to grow half a mustache. It was a couple years ago.
Yeah. You know who used to do something awesome like that was Gary Barnidge. You guys remember him? The tight end for
I remember Gary.
Yeah. Had that one awesome season. But he used to do like a movie club where he would just like rent out a theater, and fans, if they wanted to go, could just go to the movies with Gary Barnidge and watch a movie, like whatever the new movies were every Friday. Yeah. And then afterwards they would hang out and talk about it.
Gary's
really? Like, sit there and just like talk about the movie with Gary?
Yeah. He had like a legit like movie club.
Everybody pull up your chairs.
Yeah. That would have been so cool.
What did you think about this directorial decision in this film? And should I start you this weekend on Sunday? Like, do you think people are coming in and like getting their fantasy questions as well? Like,
Scott Fish should play in a league with Gary Barnidge.
Of course you do.
Yeah. Gary Barnidge and Obama.
I feel like Gary Barnidge is one of those players that just like has a special place in Browns fans' hearts. Like, whenever you said Gary Barnidge out loud, I don't know if you saw my face, but I like perked up a little bit. Like that name brings joy to me just hearing that name, and I don't particularly know why.
Me too, bro. Yeah, you can't nothing not to love. He scored 9 touchdowns that year at 30 years old. 30-year-old breakout. It allows us to justify him and
Delaney Walker.
Him and Delaney Walker allow us to justify holding on these tight ends for like until they're 35. I'm like, well,
Adam Troutman, he's only like 5 years away from his breakout. Just keep on holding on.
You never know, bro.
Hold.
We got a question from Philly Mac in here. He said, "Good morning. Which tight end is the start? Coop." JL, he doesn't want to hear from us here.
Shut it.
Andrews, Schultz, or Njoku, PPR. So where are you going, Coop?
Yeah, that is a tough one. Andrews is making me real nervous. I have Schultz over Njoku because Schultz gets the Jaguars. It's one of the better matchups. So Njoku's out of the equation here. But for me, I'm probably just going to start Andrews. I'm going to start Andrews this week, and I'm going to start him next week against Atlanta. So I'm just going to keep riding with Andrews. But if you're worried, and Tyler Huntley, he it's concussion. He cleared protocol, so he's good to go. So yeah, I'm going to go Andrews, man. What do you guys think?
I think about this question a lot, but Philly Mac didn't want my answer. So
you guys are loaded you're loaded at tight end with Andrews, Schultz, and Njoku. So there's kind of no wrong answers.
It's Andrews for me. I'm rolling Andrews out there. Tyler Huntley starting. If Anthony Brown was starting, I probably would have shifted to Schultz there. Yes. But with Tyler Huntley under center, you roll out your stud and Mark Andrews in the fantasy football playoffs to bring that championship home. And I'm just messing with you, Philly Mac.
Coming home.
I might go Dalton Schultz here. It's close enough, and I want to see if Mark Andrews is another dud week with Tyler Huntley. I'd rather see that. Cleveland's not the best matchup for tight end, but Jacksonville's a pretty good matchup for tight end. Dalton Schultz is Jacksonville.
Right. If you believe in the rest of your roster and just want the safest possible play, it's Dalton Schultz. But the upside play is Mark Andrews. There's no tight end that really has better usage than him. He literally has not been asked to pass block on a single pass play all season. He is the focal point of the offense. The question is whether they can get him the ball or not.
And the upside with Mark Andrews is he is Mark Andrews.
Yes.
Well,
that's what I was talking about. I was talking about
no further explanation.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Andrews.
Mark Andrews.
Andrews hasn't blocked on a single pass play. Whereas Schultz, Schultz at times, Schultz against the Giants blocked on 10 pass plays, which is like 30% of it. Like, it's brutal. Yeah, it's yucky. We don't like to see that. But last week, 10 targets.
Phew. Scott Fish said it's the same league with Waller. I didn't know he was in a league with Darren Waller. Simon, did you know that? You're only 1 degree away from Darren Waller.
You know what? This is fair. This is Scott. You know why he didn't tell me? This is probably why he wanted me to text him so that he could tell me he was in a league with Darren Waller. I've yet to text Scott Fish, and so now this is payback. I was unaware that he was in a league with Darren Waller.
That's pretty sweet.
Barnidge, that's pretty sick. Waller. Darren Waller is truly my number 1 player in the NFL. My number 1 favorite player is Darren Waller.
He's got leagues with AJ Dillon. He's got leagues with Tyler Algier. He's got leagues with Des Bryant. Dude, Scott Fish, dude.
It's coolest.
He's got leagues with Ian Fish.
We got Maria in here. Said, good morning, Maria.
What up,
Maria?
Jamie's asked, how do you guys feel about Magic Mike White?
From fantasy perspective, or just like how do I feel about him? Because how do I feel about him is just this mixture of shock, awe, and disbelief in like the narrative around Mike White that we're seeing develop this season. Like of all players to become like the stud on their team. Know what I mean? Like the guy that people are rallying around. Like of all the players on the Jets, if you would have showed me that roster at the beginning of the season, like this team is going to rally around a player to reinvigorate their season down the stretch to hopefully make the playoffs, I would have not said that's going to be Mike White. Even if you would have given me multiple choice of like 4 players, I probably wouldn't have picked Mike White. So I'm sitting here just enjoying the ride. Now, that being said, I'm not sure how confident I am starting him. This offense is clearly working better with Mike White under center than it was with Zach Wilson. They're running more plays. They're scoring more points. Yikes. They're playing the Lions this week, though, so I think he's a borderline must start. The rest of the playoffs, I'm not so sure, but against the Lions, you got to get him in there, right? You got to ride what he's been doing, and you got to ride the matchup that's been best for opposing fantasy quarterbacks.
Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle.
He's must start
rest of the season schedule for Mike White. I'm confident throwing him in there for the rest of the fantasy season.
Yeah, definitely in Superflex, DFS for sure. In 1 QB leagues, you guys saying you got to get him in there?
This week, there's the names that you don't start him over. Yeah. There's the names you don't start him over. There's the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allens, even in the snow, the Jalen Hurts, the probably even Joe Burrow. But I think Mike White's up there, Joe. You're right. He's a top 10 quarterback this week. In most situations, I think you're starting him.
I'm going to start Joe Burrow over Mike White, I think.
Me too. What about Justin Fields versus Philly or Mike White versus Detroit?
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields versus Philly. What about you, JL?
Yeah, Justin Fields.
Yeah, it's Justin Fields for me as well.
Just that rushing. Yeah, Mike White doesn't have that same upside that Fields has.
Tom Brady versus Cincy or Mike White?
Mike White.
Wow. Simon thinks Mike White's a better quarterback than Tom Brady.
Word for word, what I said, 100%.
100%. Yeah, I'm with him. I'm backing him up.
Derek Carr or Mike White?
Mike White.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers versus the Rams on Monday night or Mike White?
Give me Mike White against the Lions. I expect this game to be a bit of a shootout.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins versus Indy?
Mike White. That Indy defense actually isn't like the best matchup for quarterbacks.
I'm gonna start Kirk Cousins.
Kirky boy.
I think that game could be a shootout, and I'm just not sure Mike White's that good.
That's
But it's
fair.
the Lions.
Yeah, one of the problems with Mike White is that he might not be that good.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, Kirk Cousins, he knows what that's like. So
Right, yeah. I mean,
What's the over-under for this Lions
44.5.
44.5? Okay. Expect it to be a little bit higher.
didn't we say that Mike White versus the Vikings was like an unstoppable matchup, and then he didn't throw any touchdowns? He threw 2 picks.
I don't remember. I have a goldfish memory.
He did throw for 360 something yards, but 57 attempts. No, they should be slinging. I just worry that he stinks.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And while the Vikings are a good matchup for quarterbacks, I think the Lions are even a step above that. Know what I mean? Like it's taking it to another level right there. We got Jolly Rancher in the chat saying goldfish memory, LOL.
Classic.
Goldfish memory. Shout out Goldfish.
Goldfish memory.
And they have a longer memory than you think.
They
That's
do.
3 seconds. Shout out Mythbusters.
Shout out Mythbusters. Didn't
A
think
lot
we'd
of
say
shout
that
outs,
today.
dude. A lot of
Spooky
shout outs
season
right now.
asking Zonovan Knight or Zay Jones flex spot this week.
Shout out spooky season.
So, shout out Spooky. It's Zonovan Knight for me. It's getting that usage, man.
It's on of a night for me as well. Though Zay Jones also getting that usage. Dude's getting targeted pretty heavily over the back half of this season. Whenever he's out on the field, he seems to be a piece of this offense, like a viable piece. I'm still going to roll Zonovan Knight, though.
Yeah, I like Zonovan. He looked good. Passed the eye test.
Triple Zonovan right there. Guys,
Scott Fish said, according to Thor Nystrom, this is the first time the Vikings will play against a team where the coach has the same last name as the day of the week.
Huh.
Interesting data. Yeah, that is.
There no other Coach Wednesday didn't coach against the Vikings ever?
Huh. Not on a Wednesday.
Does that change your rankings at all?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you know what my number one favorite dad joke is? Like overused dad
Tell
joke.
us.
It's the one that goes only on days that end in Y. Like whenever people throw that one out there, it just tickles me. Like for some reason, that one gets me every single time.
It's a classic.
I'm not a fan of all but that's a classic like dad joke, office corporate humor. Whenever you walk in, like, yeah, only on days that end in Y. It's the best one. Guys, coming up, we've got some games ready for you. We're going to play a new game called Vague Descriptions, and then we're going to build out a DFS lineup for this Sunday, a core lineup for Sunday's slate. We're going to play some Quotey McQuote face a bit later today as well, and then we've got our Thursday night football predictions getting ready for tonight's 49ers Seahawks game. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis. Presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The only person, I've said this to you before, who I believe back then, of all those power hitters who truly was clean, Ken Griffey Jr.
I mean, I think so when he got hurt.
Body didn't change.
We'll never know that for sure either.
No, dude.
We've seen guys who were not big take substances.
That's true.
To get busted. So it's not about that, always.
I hear you. It's just, don't you think with the way his career kind of went, you would think that he didn't take anything?
I don't think he did, but we'll never know 100%.
I'm going to keep telling myself that he didn't. The 1 year player, I mean, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. In the 1990s, Ron, as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid who plays video games and collected cards, there was no one cooler than Ken Griffey Jr. I still wear my hat backwards because Ken Griffey Jr. did it and he looked really cool doing that, wearing a backwards baseball cap. He made everything the guy did looked cool. Even the home run in the movie Little Big League, it's acting, it's all, I guess, fake, but even he made that look cool. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., you're a little bit older than me, but in the 90s, besides Michael Jordan, was there a more loved athlete than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, no, I love Griffey. He's one of my favorite players ever, from defensively to hitting his swing. And yeah, I would have loved to see what he could have done if he had stayed healthy, the final numbers he finished with. So, no, I was a huge fan of Ken Griffey, and it's a shame, though, that all those injuries towards the end of his career just really limited the production he put up, but he still put up elite numbers. He was so fun to watch. So I'm a huge Ken Griffey guy.
And here's the other thing, too. So 1994, the season got shortened because of the strike.
And he finished with 40 homers in 111 games that year, man. And then he had 56 2 years in a row, 97 and 98, and then 48. He had a stretch 4 years in a row, 49, 56, 56, 48, 40. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, once he hit like 31, he started to miss games, 111, 70, 53, 83. So think about that. All those years that he lost, and he still hit 630 home runs, man. Yeah. So if he was clean, he would have been the all-time home run champion. Again, we're all guessing here, but you would think, all right, well, once he got into age 31, 32, that's when the body started breaking out, which is typical, right, for someone who's not using anything, whereas we saw Barry Bonds just get better with age, and we did not see that with Griffey. So look at 2001, where he's 31, he played on, look at the home runs decline, 8, 13, 20, 35, 27, 30, 18, 15. To his age 38 season. Even age 39 in 170 games, he had 19 home runs. So he probably would have definitely been the all-time home run leader had he been able to stay healthy.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Craig coming in with a dad joke to rival the one I said. The classic, Dad, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm Dad. You ever hit that one, Coop? You ever been hit with that one? Oh, man, I'm getting hit with nothing from you right now.
I said that's a smart joke.
Yeah, it's a tier above. You got to reach dad status to hit that, I think.
Yeah, truly.
We had a question come in here from Brandon, too. Brandon wanted to know, Chuba Hubbard or Marquise Brown in the flex? Coop, which way you rolling between these two players?
I like Marquise Brown because you look at Chuba and it's like, okay, he has back-to-back games with double-digit carries. But in both those games, Donta Foreman played more snaps and got more carries. Donta Foreman's getting double, he's getting 20-plus carries in those games. Unless you're banking on this team to win handedly like they did the last couple games and run the ball like 40 times, it's hard for Chuba to get that level of volume again. So I'm not really banking on that. I'd rather go with Hollywood. I don't know. What do you think, Simon?
Yeah, I'm going to roll Hollywood Brown out there as well. We've been getting a lot of Hollywood Brown questions recently, and I understand the concerns. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely the offense is downgraded with Colt McCoy in there instead of Kyler Murray. That's not a question to me, but I'm still rolling Marquise Brown over there over a guy who's splitting carries as the secondary back on a bad Panthers offense. I know he's had good games. I get it, but I'm just not starting him whenever you've got a good option like Hollywood Brown.
If it was Donta Foreman, I might go with Donta Foreman if you add him because he's the starter. He's playing more snaps, but I'm not going to start the Panthers backup running back here.
Yeah, neither am I. And he said, oh, yeah, it's PPR, by the way. Does that change it for you? Put it more in favor of Marquise Brown, less in favor?
More in favor of Marquise Brown.
Yep, I'm with you. Makes it even stronger on the Marquise Brown side. John Luke, did you get locked out of your office?
I did. It was super weird. I didn't think that happened here in Maryland, but I guess it does.
It's the Texas. It's contagious.
So Texas is rubbing off on me.
I have to keep an eye on my doors, dude. Could be stuck in this room.
Yeah, that unicorn.
Oh, God, that's the worst. Being locked out of somewhere sucks. Being locked in somewhere sucks even worse. Oh, my God. Suddenly, you've got to be anywhere but that place where you're locked. Every time.
Yeah.
No, that one's bad. Guys, we have a new game we are about to get into that we are calling Vague Descripts. John Luke, you want to run us through how this game is going to work? Vague descriptions?
Vague descriptions. Yes, I will. If you have watched us play our Fantasy Football Jeopardy game before, you might recognize this, but I will explain it if you haven't. Contestants are going to be given a vague description of something and a category that's related to whatever that thing that they're describing is. They have to guess it correctly, or their opponent can steal the point. Pretty straightforward, right, guys?
Yeah.
Sounds pretty vague.
I'm in.
Sounds pretty vague. All right.
Do we buzz in, or is it directed at one of us?
It is going to work similar to Quotey McQuote face, where we are going to go round robin here. switch off. So we're going to start with you, Coop, on this one. Here is your first vague description. This category is a movie. Category is a movie, all right? Here's the description. Man gets in trouble, starts a football team, experiences loss, but ultimately wins.
Man gets in trouble.
I got it.
You read it one more time.
Man gets in trouble, starts a football team, experiences loss, but ultimately wins. Close the chat if you haven't already.
Yeah, good call.
And
sorry, chat.
Which is a good reminder, chat. Play along with us while we play. We love it when you guys throw your guesses in the chat. And if you get it right, these guys get it wrong, we are gonna praise the heck out of you.
All right. So gets in trouble. So my guess would be the longest yard.
That's what I was thinking.
The longest yard is correct, Coop.
Yes.
Well
Yeah.
done. That's a point for Coop.
Let's go, dude. Simon in the movies category. Once Simon said he'd seen it, the heat was on because I am like, I can't lose in the movie category to Simon, dude.
I thought I was gonna psych you out and that you would guess Nacho Libre.
I was thinking about
questioning everything you knew about Nacho Libre and be like, did he start a football team? I guess he was in trouble. And he definitely experienced loss in that film.
Yeah.
We got Nicholas in here who got it. He said Adam Sandler, longest yard, baby. RIP Caretaker, for real. Caretaker was killed, man. That hit me differently. RIP. Didn't even need to do him like that. It's just messed up.
It was unnecessary. It was
totally
unnecessary.
And Better Boss in the chat said, new game. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Yo, dude.
Ty said Burt Reynolds. Original is even better. I don't believe that. You didn't have Eddie Cheeseburger.
Back in my day,
we did that. I never
Adam Sandler.
I've never seen the original. Is there a cheeseburger guy in the original?
Terry Crews in the original? Because that'd be pretty. That might change my mind.
Playing the same character, but just 30 years younger. Terry Crews. It's a child. It's like how I want them to remake Home Alone, but with Macaulay Culkin still playing the 7-year-old.
Exactly.
That would be amazing. Do you think back then Terry Crews's robot dance moves were better or worse than they are now?
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
He's been doing the same robot for 20 years.
He came out of the womb doing the robot without a doubt.
He's got a strong robot.
He came out of he did two things when he came out of the womb. He flexed his pecs and then he did the robot.
Yeah.
Popping pecs.
The pec flex, man, that is iconic, Terry Crews.
Yeah.
Well done,
my favorite Terry Crews role of all time is him in those the commercials, the Terry Crews office linebacker commercials. Have you seen those?
I feel like I remember those, but I can't actually
recall. Or was that Terry Crews? Terry Tate. Oh, it's Terry Tate office linebacker.
Totally different Terry.
I was like, I picture the commercial. I remember the commercial, but I just believed you that it was.
When I said Terry Crews
for a second, yeah.
It's Terry Tate, but those commercials are so good, bro. So good. With the guy with the recycling.
All right, Coop. Well done. You got a point for that one. Simon, we're moving on to your next vague description. You ready?
I am.
Remember, you got to get this right, or else Coop will have the opportunity to steal it, and with it, your point.
I got this.
The category is football.
Oh, football. Oh, Coop gets movies, and I get football. Which thank you.
Here's your vague description. When you go before it's time.
False start.
Simon, I would have accepted offsides or false start.
Woohoo!
So you will also get your point.
Or encroachment, or neutral zone infraction unabated to the quarterback, or any of the other.
Wouldn't have accepted those, but they are tangentially related. Yes.
Any of the other 11 calls for going too early in this league.
Yes. What we were going for is offsides or false start. Simon, you nailed it. Well done.
Suck it, Coop.
You wouldn't have accepted encroachment.
That one's more about the line that you cross than about the timing in which you do it. Both are required.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was thinking about it.
Timing is everything. If you go after the snap, then it's not encroachment.
I get it. I get the times related, but I was going for the other two.
It's a vague description, Coop.
It's a vague description.
I already can tell this game's going to be very controversial.
Yeah, Goose grinding his teeth. Greg said that was not Terry Crews.
It was not Terry Crews.
Terry Tate.
Different Terry? Messed up my strong Terrys. I apologize. There were multiple strong, handsome Terrys out there. Shout out.
All right, Simon, you got that one correct. Tying up this game 1-1. Coop, we're back to you.
Cool.
You ready?
Yeah.
Cool.
Your category is football, Coop. Here's your description. When you push the popular guy inappropriately.
It's a good one.
I need an answer, Coop.
What's it going to be?
I'm going to bonk you.
Is it taunting?
Mm-mm.
Bonk. Simon, you have the opportunity to steal this.
The most popular guy on the field is the quarterback. This is roughing the passer.
This is absolutely roughing the passer.
The popular
Simon.
guy. Wow.
Yes, the key there being the popular guy clue. So of course, the QB is always the most popular guy on the team.
That makes sense. Yeah, every time.
Bingo. So Simon, you're gonna steal.
You're really getting hung up on this vague part of the game.
Right.
Well done, Simon. You were gonna steal Coop's point here, making it 2-1. Well
2-1, and I got an opportunity to expand the lead right here, right?
Yes, you do, because this next one is going to be yours, so you'll get the opportunity to expand the lead, like you said. Just repeating everything you say. Paraphrased. Adam in here says, "Sup, guys? What up, Adam? Good morning,
Adam?
my friend."
Welcome, man.
And Nicholas asked, "You guys said you guys are hilarious. Thanks for bringing the energy this early. Appreciate you, Nicholas. Thanks for coming in."
Yesterday, guys, I open up one of my leagues and I start scrolling through the chat, and all of a sudden I see a picture of me with my hands like this in the chat that somebody else posted, and it was your average Joe who comes in here every week and asks for the Christian McCaffrey prayers. And they were like talking smack back and forth, him and his person he's playing in the first round of the playoffs. And he said, "Yeah, well, you don't have this guy praying for you this week." Now with the picture of me just hands up like that, and I lost it.
Now you got the power of God and anime on your side.
The power of God and anime.
Shout out Joe.
Shout out Joe. That is hilarious. Jay Wall has been sending us the messages every time that he uses those pictures.
It's pretty funny.
So good.
All right, Simon, this next vague description is for you, my friend. The category is TV show.
Okay.
Category is TV show.
I've seen some.
Here's your description. Man moves across the country to live with relatives. Antics ensue.
Man moves across the country to live with relatives. Oh, this is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
This is absolutely the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Simon. Well done. Well done.
So good.
Extra point here. Coop, did you know that one?
I probably would have got it.
Probably would have got that one.
I like to say.
Took me a second. I was thinking the wrong way at first. That for some reason my mind immediately was like, did Walter White move across the country?
Dude, I immediately thought of Breaking Bad. Before anything was even said, my mind went to Breaking Bad. I just thinking you said TV shows, I was like, yeah, the Breaking Bad.
I didn't even get to the description yet.
Really didn't though. That's my first thought.
Maria said Fresh Prince. She got it right.
Shout out.
And what I can only assume is Jay from the company account said roughing the passer. Incorrect. Sorry. It was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Jay is always about 5 minutes behind or
5 minutes behind and on the wrong account. Everything wrong.
My boy Jay.
My boy Jay.
When you see this, hit the live button and join us.
Yeah.
When you see this in 5 minutes, why don't you come join us and watch the show?
Yeah. We'll see you then, buddy. Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And Albert said Jay.
That's G-Man Jay, yeah, right?
G-Man Jay, yeah.
He's not nearly as behind as he usually is. Yeah, there we go. Now he's finally caught up.
There we go. All right, Simon, you are in the lead here, 3-1. Coop, you got to bring this back, buddy. You got this. You got this. Now you got to feel for the game. It's a new game. Now you got your bearings. You know what you're doing. You got your Andy Behrens. You're good.
Ready to rock and roll, dude. Andy Behrens, fancy judge. Ready to judge this next one.
Your category is football. Football.
Love football.
Your description is the person who sees something and says something.
Is that a referee?
That is a referee, Coop. Well done. Well done. That gives you a point, bringing you 2 points. Simon.
They have that. I don't know why it made me chuckle so much, but they have that same thing in London, but it's read by people in London. So it just sounds so different. It's like, if you say something, say something.
Say something.
I was just like, what?
Say that again.
Yeah. It sounds a little more, it doesn't sound as serious when they're saying it.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit passive. If you see something.
In New York,
they're
like, if you see something, say something. Over there, they're
Yeah,
like,
that got Southern all of a sudden.
I don't
from
know
you.
what. That's why I
Like, if you
trailed
say
off.
something. Say something. Like I wasn't
Say
sure. what-
something. Say something. Isn't it? Adam in here asking, start Deshaun Watson or Justin Fields? So he's got a second question, but we'll start with this one. Start Deshaun Watson or Justin Fields. Which of these two guys you started?
I'm rolling out Justin Fields versus Philly. I know it's a tough matchup, but I'm not scared off of it. I'm rolling out Fields.
Does Fields have legs?
Yes.
I'm going Fields.
he's that rushing upside, man. The guy's breaking off 70-yard touchdowns. It's hard to go away from it.
Yeah.
Man, it's absurd what we want. Like when we think rushing quarterback, I feel like we don't think regularly rips off more than 30-yard touchdown runs. And that's just what Justin Fields has been doing. Like it's not like just these 1-2 yard punch it in on the goal line. He's consistently getting out for like 30+ yard touchdown runs. It's insane. It's so much fun to watch.
Magic.
I can't take my eyes off like
Magic.
Bears games when he's on because he can break one off at any moment.
So good.
I'm not saying it's like Mike Vick, but the last person to do that was Mike Vick, right? Like, just where he's just like running all over the field, making guys running into each other. Like that's
More than Lamar?
Lamar has the most underrated juke move in the game. Like look up Lamar
going back since the start.
But nobody talks about it, dude. Nobody talks about it. But if you go and look at like Lamar Jackson, just look at like Lamar Jackson jukes, like that dude is so shifty. It is ridiculous.
Make sure you get one with some slow-mo takes in there as well because it looks so freaking smooth and slow-mo.
As you watch the defender go,
it is exactly. It is effortless for Lamar. He's like just gliding out there as these defenders are flying past him.
Nothing is as sad, like just humiliating as getting fully tricked on a juke.
If Lamar was running full speed at me, I would definitely just dive the wrong way on purpose.
Oh,
like,
100%.
You got me.
Every time.
I'll be diving out of the way, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not standing in the way there.
No chance.
All right. Let me hit the follow-up question here. So this is a battle of the Moores. DJ Moore or Elijah Moore, full PPR?
Depends on if Corey Davis plays for me. If Corey Davis doesn't play, it's going to be Elijah Moore.
For me or not?
If Corey Davis does play, it's going to be DJ Moore. But I like Elijah Moore with Corey Davis out. I'm turning the corner on that one. I think you guys were right yesterday whenever you brought that up.
Yep, that's where I was. That's what I was saying. That's exactly what I said yesterday. Is that it boils down to that because he hasn't been playing the snaps. He's been the third man in, and that's because Corey Davis is a big boy, so they like having him out there at split end. That leaves only flanker and slot open, right? So if Garrett Wilson's going to play every snap and Corey Davis is going to be the big guy, then Elijah Moore's the third man in. But last week with Corey Davis out, Elijah Moore played 67 snaps, I believe. So got to get that guy in if that's the case against the Vikings.
Lions, yep. DJ Moore, they have a good matchup too against Pittsburgh. But Detroit's a better matchup.
Right, yeah. And DJ Moore is just like, he's safe, but I don't know. Just the upside is not really quite there.
Yeah, hasn't been there. We got Maria said, Coop came back so cultured. He did. He really did. And Jay said, 2019 when we juked, when he juked 2 Bengals out of their cleats, their souls left their bodies.
To the shadow
I
realm.
remember that. That's wild.
And the Bengals have been 2 souls shy of a full team ever since.
Yeah, 9 men.
You can't get them back.
Teams.
They've got 11 men on the field, but only 9 souls. It alternates who has their soul taken away each time they enter the field. These are the Cincinnati Bengals.
I wonder what that must be like.
Probably not pleasant.
Actually, that's how I felt when I said encroachment. You said it didn't count.
Yeah, it wasn't even. It wasn't even your question. You're sitting here like you were getting like defensive about it. Like I had already gotten the point. You agreed that the point should go that way, and then you were like, "But in principle, this should have been correct."
This would have also been an acceptable option. There were a number of acceptable options, at least 5. I could name 5 that would be acceptable.
All right. Well, we are moving on to our next vague description here. Simon, this one is yours.
Indeed, it is.
The category is song.
Song or psalm?
Song.
Thank God.
I don't know psalm. So
Me
song.
neither. I know a couple, but it's been a minute.
And your vague description is what this band smells like.
Smells like Teen Spirit. But
It
do you want the
absolutely
band?
does.
Okay. Do you want the band or do you want the song? Because you said song.
I figured you know it.
Yeah, by Nirvana.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it. Well done,
Boom.
Si. It's going to add to your lead here, 4-2. 4-2. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I didn't know that one. That Keith came up with that one, and I was sitting here debating whether I was going to use it or not because I wouldn't have gotten it.
No.
I know the song, sure. I think I even used to know on guitar, but just wouldn't have thought what the band smells like.
I was gonna guess Butthole Surfers, but that's not a
good band.
That's not a song though.
It's not. All right, Coop, back to you. You got a 2-point deficit here. You ready?
I'm ready.
The category is animal. And the vague description is a deadly sin.
Deadly sin.
Gotcha.
Is it? Oh, I got it. It's a sloth.
Nailed
Sloth
it.
is absolutely
Nailed
correct.
it.
Let's go, dude.
I didn't know that one either.
No, dude, you didn't know your 7 deadly sins. I had to go through a couple of them. What was the first deadly sin that comes to your mind? Quick, go.
Wrath.
Wrath.
Wrath is first for you.
I think I just
Greed.
did a quiz on Sporkle yesterday that was the W Blitz quiz, and it asked
Jealous.
a bunch of questions where you had to answer that started with W, and one of them was the deadly sins. And so it took me a while to get
Lust.
to wrath. But then once I figured it out, now it's like prominent in there because I had to puzzle to find it yesterday. Know what I mean?
Weird that I know my.
No,
my
you shuffled the
deadly
filing.
sins.
You shuffled the filing cabinet just yesterday, Simon.
Just yesterday, yeah.
Is it weird that I know my deadly sins because of Full Metal Alchemist?
Absolutely not. It's either that or it like I think most people know the deadly sins through Full Metal Alchemist or through 7 Deadly Sins, the anime on Netflix.
Yeah, no,
Like,
the other
those
anime.
are-
I know mine through the movie 7
Okay.
Seven
See, there's another
also
one.
a good
with
one.
Brad
Yeah.
Pitt. Yeah.
Maria said, I don't know
Everybody's
that
talking
one.
about
She said gluttony. Yeah, gluttony is a good one. Is
Gluttony-
gluttony the sloth one or sloth it actual
Sloth is its own. Yeah.
is its own? Okay. I didn't know it was called sloth. Well done.
Gluttony would have been the last one I remembered, I think.
Oh,
Nicholas
Full Metal
said
Alchemist makes me remember Gluttony the most because that
Yeah.
that
dude
one
just
was terrifying. Like he
You
was
know.
very prominent.
Nicholas Danuccio
eat?
Nicholas Danuccio in the chat playing Thursday players in the flex is the 8th deadly sin. That's a good one. I like
That is a good one. I feel like we should do that. We should do a deadly sin segment.
Maria,
Seven
Fantasy
deadly
deadly
sins.
sins.
Maria said WTF is sloth. Sloth is just laziness. So pretty much anybody that's up with us right now at 8:30 hanging out talking about ball ain't no sloth, dude. You're a superstar.
Ain't no
so
sloth.
you may be guilty of the other sins, but you got that one covered. You're hanging out. You're up early. You're hanging out, getting stuff done. Just like us, we're doing very important stuff.
Yeah, very important business that we have here.
Very important.
Simon, you
On to
ready
the
for
next vague
vague
description. Yeah.
important.
Sorry, JL.
This one's a movie.
Can
Can you guess this movie? All right, the category is movie. The vague description is a man takes up a sport to make money for some kids.
A man takes up a sport to make money for some kids. Oh no. Make money for some kids. I'm forgetting the plot of this movie, but it was a man taking up a sport. It's been a while, and we brought it up yesterday. Is this Happy Gilmore?
Simon? This is not Happy Gilmore.
So
Yeah. I
that
couldn't
one
remember why he was trying to win the money. I remember he was trying
It's
to win money
for-
and he took up a sport, but I
that
couldn't
was to
remember
keep
why.
that was my first thought too, but it's to save his grandmother's house.
That's right. Damn it.
Coop, you have an opportunity to steal here. A man takes up a sport to make money for some kids.
I need
Tell
this
me the
one.
movie.
I need this one bad. Hardball, he takes it up because he's like got community service.
God, don't bring that movie up. I'll cry.
So sad, bro.
I've never
Call
seen
me Big Papa. Man takes up a sport to make money for some kids. Is it
I'm
Well, they need an answer, Coop.
dodgeball? It's to save the gym. I'm trying to think of like there's
You
so
got
many
4 seconds.
there's so many make money for kids movies.
Bonk. I'm sorry, Coop.
Let me just throw out what I was thinking. Right
Okay.
before you bonked me, I was thinking about a movie and I was just about to say it. And that movie is Space Jam.
Space Jam is incorrect. This movie is Nacho Libre.
Oh, no! Oh my god!
Simon, you
The movie Simon's seen 800 times.
shut up. I've never seen it.
One of the
Never
4
seen it.
movies Simon has ever seen in his life.
I will watch Nacho Libre now.
Nacho Libre.
That's how I'm gonna do that.
Kids. He really helps them. That's his whole goal, is to help the kids. No.
Yeah.
You've probably seen
Correct.
it. You've probably seen it so many times you were too deep into the meta plots.
Exactly. I was
couldn't see
way
the-
too deep into
Couldn't see the
meta
forest for
plots.
the trees.
Couldn't see the
I
forest.
can't believe you couldn't get Nacho Libre.
Well done. Shout out Keith for that one, because that went
job.
splendidly.
Good
That one
job,
went
Keith.
splendid. I did like that one.
I'm upset. I'm like actually upset right
Yeah.
now. Even at the beginning, I joked around about it being Nacho Libre. So like it was right there. It should have been present, and it didn't.
Should have
come to
been
mind.
there.
This
you're
game-
like,
This game
"Man,
is highly controversial. We should keep it.
we should keep playing it.
This game is terrible and it's highly controversial. Let's keep it.
All right. We got one more round. One more round. So each of you will get one more opportunity to score a point or steal a point here.
I needed to steal that one bad, but I'd never seen the movie, so I never would have guessed it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. All right. Coop, this one is yours.
Let's do it.
This one is a place. This category is a place, and the vague description is a large television antenna.
A place and the category. So the description of the place is large television antenna.
A large television antenna.
Is it Seattle?
Seattle is incorrect. Simon, you can steal here.
I'm wondering how pedantic you're being here, because my first thought was the Space Needle as well. But now I'm thinking like television antenna. It's shaped like this. Like what is something shaped like that could be a place? The St. Louis Arch.
St. Louis Arch is incorrect. Incorrect. We got a couple guesses here in the chat. Maria said Space Needle. And then Maria coming in with the correct guess right after that with Eiffel Tower.
Oh,
Is that what it
Eiffel
is?
Tower. That's the
the
answer.
Eiffel
Yep.
Tower.
But is it actually? It's not actually a television antenna. It was.
I have no idea.
It was an
Keith came up with this one. I don't
It was
know.
an installation for one of the world fairs a long time ago that they kept.
It looks like a television antenna though.
But I
Just
mean,
like the quarterback's
but
not
what
the
do-
most popular
what-
player
what
on
do I
the
know?
field.
Yeah, most popular, dude. Punters, dude, running to the punter, pushing down the punter. Not popular
Down the
enough.
punter.
Not popular enough.
Mm-mm. No,
He said, I'm going to tack an L on writing that one.
Punter is actually like the least popular position, probably, right? Because everyone's pretty pissed when the punter comes out. Nobody likes to see the punter come out.
Yeah, who's
Maria
another?
said your TV antenna is broke.
It's just one knob. You forgot the other knob on there. Also, my dad is obsessed with TV over the antenna. Like just freaking loves rabbit ears. He's like, you have no idea how many channels you can get if you just get an antenna.
That's
He's
such a
like-
dad thing, dude.
He freaking loves it. He like whenever he helped my sister move into her new place, like she moved across the country, first thing he did was set up rabbit ears. And like always texted and like, you watching? Like, are you on NBC? You should get it on your rabbit ears. He loves it. It's awesome.
That reminds me of a tweet that I saw recently that was like, as you age, here it is. As you age, it's ridiculous how fast bird watching creeps up on you. You spend your whole life 100% indifferent to birds. Then one day, boom, you're like, damn, is that a yellow rumped warbler?
I legitimately stopped on my walk on the way home and started walking the other direction because I saw a blue jay. And I was like, oh, it's so pretty. And like I'm walking through an empty lot, like trying to get a closer look. It flies away. It's 100% true. I was like, man, how majestic and beautiful.
It is crazy though how you go from like not caring about dad stuff like that to like I can't judge him for the antenna thing at all because I'm like that with flashlights now. Like once I moved away from the city and I got my first flashlight, I'm like, dude, check out how many lumens.
I kind
How many lumens this bad boy has? Have you seen the operating system on the new, and no one cares. Literally, I can
Flash
promise you,
OS.
no one cares. Yeah, I'm like, look at this. You can make it mimic a thunderstorm. And people were like, oh.
You can check your email on your flashlight.
Some of them you can't.
All right. This is the final round, Simon. This one is yours. If you get this wrong, Coop will have the opportunity to steal it and tie the game, leaving this game in a tie. Here it is. Your category is celebrity. Your vague description is plays a really handsome electrician.
Plays a really handsome electrician. An electrician. Electricity. Power. Lightning. This is Thor. This is Hemsworth.
Simon? Chris Hemsworth is absolutely correct.
Got there, baby. Word association.
I was going to bonk you for saying Thor.
I took my headphones off while you were. I was like, I can't have him infiltrating my brain while I'm thinking.
So Simon, you are going to win our first time playing vague descriptions. Well done. 5-3.
Speech.
I would like to thank first and foremost, and also issue an apology to the man who has influenced my movie and media taste the most, Jack Black. Jack Black. This win goes to you, and I promise, I'm going to go do 7 Nacho Libres after this. I've got my Nacho Libre rosary, and I'm going to go make sure that that never happens again. But thank you for all you've done in shaping my movie mind, Mr. Jack Black.
Out of respect to those kids.
Beautiful speech.
Seven watches.
Do it for the kids. Maria said, Coop, have you seen those TikToks of the guy with the most powerful flashlight?
So the crazy thing is I've done my best to not download TikTok, and I've been avoiding TikTok, but yes, I have. And it's amazing, bro. But that dude has got to be the most annoying guy in the world. He'll shine it down from like a big building like down into other buildings, like other apartment complexes. I picture like every time I see that, somebody's got to take that TikTok and like mash it up with the scene from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation when he finally turns the lights on and the neighbors are like, ah! like it. Those flashlights though are insanity. The ones that like people build these novelty ones that are like 100,000
burn your arm off.
You can literally only light them for like a couple seconds. But it is insane. Like this guy,
everything bursts into flames around you.
Yeah, but the guy, it's legit. Like you just turn it from night to day with the press of a button.
It's like the opposite of a solar eclipse. Right. Like all of a sudden, it fully looks like it's daytime out there.
It's kind of how I imagine. Like you guys are gonna make fun of me. Who's the X-Men with the laser eyes? Cyclops. It's like how I imagine his superpower.
We're still playing vague description.
Yeah, very. Like you can only really use that in like particular situations. You can't use that indoors, or else that laser's just going anywhere, man.
Yeah,
you're having all sorts of unintended consequences.
There's a character on The Boys that does light. I'm only a couple episodes in, but that's all I got for you.
Great story.
But if it's like, but those videos, man, like as much as I appreciate them because they're cool, like that is like light pollution of the highest order. It's like just dumping a dump truck out on the ground.
100%. It is wild though, because it truly will look like daytime. It will look like daytime. I wonder if animals get confused because of those flashlights. Because when there's an eclipse, like it confuses the animals. Like it's daytime, and then all of a sudden, like the crickets come out because they think it's nighttime because all of a sudden the sun's gone. I wonder if those flashlights get the animals confused nearby.
We probably just lost like 5 viewers to TikTok just now.
As they went to go look at the flashlight video, and then all of a sudden,
they're gone. They're watching like full episodes of Family. They're watching full episodes of Family Guy, one clip at a time. Like, that's what my buddy does. I'm like, why don't you just watch Family Guy, you idiot?
He's like, oh, I get to swipe.
Like,
and then you have to determine there's other random videos in between that episode of Family Guy. Like all of a sudden you get a clip of American Dad in the middle. Then there's one of like Steve Harvey like hosting something on Family Feud, and then the next episode of Family Guy coming right up there.
3 a.m.
Guys, coming up, we've got some more games that we are going to play with you. Some Quotey McQuote face, and then doing some Thursday night football predictions as well. And guys, if you're enjoying what we got here on BSN, there's some good news. Better Sports Network has a holiday gift for all new subscribers. You get a free 90-day trial when you sign up for a monthly subscription. You can hear all of our talk shows whenever you want on demand, plus exclusive interviews, features, and special events. All you got to do is enter the code HOLIDAYS when signing up for a monthly subscription on the Better Sports Network app. That is code HOLIDAYS. Right now, you are listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
What's going on, everybody? Matt Bruning here with Campus to Ken on behalf of the Better Sports Network. We're going to give you a rundown of the first full bowl slate this Saturday, and we're going to start with Cincinnati at Louisville. Malik Cunningham and most of the offensive players for Louisville have entered the transfer portal. On top of that, their head coach, Scott Satterfield, is standing on the opposite sideline for Cincinnati. Play Cincinnati at 1.5. Next up, Florida versus Oregon State should be a great game. Oregon State's defense is legit 16th in passing explosiveness, and they have 2 back-end players on the Pac-12 first team. Anthony Richardson opted out. That means that they're going to be relying on Jack Miller to be passing the ball for them, who has a total of 14 pass attempts in his entire collegiate career. Ranked 97th in points per opportunity, and on top of that, their defense is bad against the rush, 121st in rushing success rate. True freshman Damian Martinez for Oregon State should have a massive game here. Play Oregon State -10 and play their over on their team total when that drops. Washington State versus Fresno State. The entire Washington State wide receiver room has entered the transfer portal. Their offense was ranked first in neutral script passing rate at 73%, but Cam Ward has nobody to throw the ball to. On top of that, Fresno State's secondary is legit. They are 27th in EPA per play and 23rd in passing success rate. Play Fresno -3. Rice versus Southern Miss. Rice is really bad, guys. Ranked 100th in EPA per pass attempt offensively and 99th in points per opportunity. Southern Miss offense has been efficient, 34th in passing per EPA. Play Southern Miss -6.5 for anything under a touchdown. Last but not least, North Texas versus Boise State. North Texas ended the season down bad. They fired their head coach, Seth Littrell, and they failed to beat Rice when they were favored by 14.5 points. Boise State's defense is legit, and they might not let North Texas score in this one. 2nd in EPA per pass and 31st in EPA per rush, and multiple defenders on the Mountain West first team. Play Boise State -9.5, and there's a good argument to play their over on their team total and the under on North Texas's team total. Make sure to stay tuned into everything Better Sports all day for the up-to-date bowl bets, and tune into us at campustocanton.com every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Man, and that's getting me a little bit hyped up for bowl season. You know what I mean? I'm going to be honest. I haven't been the best college football fan this year. I've been more invested in previous seasons, but bowl season just gets me hyped. And I understand their exhibition games, but man, it's just so much fun. And I love the pick'em aspect of it. There was one year, guys, like my claim to fame, one of my favorite sports things I ever did in any of these like fantasy contests. In the bowl pick'ems, the Capital One, like they did a big bowl pick'em. I was sitting there and I got the first 31 bowl games in a row correct. 31 games I got right. I was sitting at the top of the leaderboard after 31 games in this back in like 2011. Like it was a long time ago. And I was freaking out. I was like, oh, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. Boom. And then I got every single game after that wrong. No. Just finished. Like, I think there was like 11 more, something like that. And I got all of them wrong. But for a moment, I was sitting there atop like a nationwide leaderboard, and I was like, oh, this is going to be it.
30 games? You said 31?
31 that I got right. In that.
Imagine if you did a 31 leg parlay.
I would have never. I was also a child, so it would have been illegal. But I was sitting there just picking. I had no idea. It was pure luck. But guys,
your dad did a 30-leg parlay?
My dad did he did 32, and that was the problem. The next game is the one that got him. But guys, BSN's running a bold pick 'em this year as well with our friends over at Fantasy Alarm. So if you guys want to enter, compete against us as well, you can head on over to the Better Network Twitter, and there's a link right there in the pinned tweet. I already made my picks. It's going to start on Tuesday of next week. So we're starting with the bowl game starting Tuesday, when we're giving away some awesome prizes too. 1st through 5th in that contest are going to get some sick memorabilia from your choice of school. So head on over there and enter that contest. See if you can compete against us.
Those are tough.
Guys,
Fantasy Alarm guys are sharp over there, I've heard.
They're sharp over there. They are sharp. Coop saying that as a Fantasy Alarm guy. Coop's like, I'm sharp over there.
I love those the contests they do. Like it's a lot of fun. They run these for the Super Bowl. They run them for everything, and it's basically almost always free. They run them for the Oscars. Ryan Hallam will do a lot of them. He sets them up because he's into all those things. Like he's always doing brackets. We have a Survivor fantasy league. I only have one. They have one character left, Maria, I believe her name is. But anyway, it's pretty cool to do those because it's like it's free and you get prizes if you win. Can't beat that, right? Free.
Yeehaw!
Yeah.
Guys, we are going to put together a Sunday DFS build right now. Just a core lineup based on this Sunday slate. On the FanDuel website, we're going to put together a quarterback and wide receiver stack from one of us, a running back from one of us, and then a tight end from the other. So looking at this entire Sunday slate, or the main slate for this weekend. So let's go ahead and pull that up. We've got an interesting slate this weekend as well, because it's just those Sunday games, not the 3 Saturday games as well, right? So we've got 8 or 10 games on the slate for Sunday, even though we don't have any buys here in week 15. So we can get that rolling over here. Coop, whenever you're looking at the tight end position for this week for DFS, are there any players that jump out at you as you got to get them in your lineup?
Well, here's the thing. I actually looked at DraftKings by accident rather than FanDuel. So why don't one of you guys go first? Yeah, I got to pull that up.
All good. John Luke, do you have a running back for this week that you are dying to get into your lineup?
Just looking through the numbers now, Miles Sanders stands out, 7,800 going against Chicago. I think that game Philadelphia should be able to handle Chicago pretty easily. So the game script might go Miles Sanders' way. I'm pretty tempted with Miles Sanders here. How do you feel about Miles Sanders this week, Simon?
I don't mind Miles Sanders. That's one of the guys who's near the top of my list. You can probably get him not in that tier of the top priced running backs on this slate this weekend. So I wouldn't mind throwing him in
Jacobs like 9,200. That's like the top. He's the most expensive running back compared to Miles Sanders, 7,800.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a discount there, and he's got a good matchup, and it's a game that's supposed to be relatively high scoring. And I expect the Eagles to win that game, for it to be a pretty run-heavy game script for them. And you can run on the Bears. The Bears are not good against the run. I don't mind that one at all, JL.
How you feel about Miles Sanders this week, Coop?
Miles Sanders has been a beast. Like I was looking at my underdog advance race because it's playoff time for that, and basically I advanced in 100% of the leagues where I drafted Miles Sanders and 0% of the rest of them. That was kind of the difference maker for my draft. So yeah, I'm in on Miles Sanders. He's runs for 5 yards a carry, and he's actually getting red zone carries this year, which is nice.
He looks good, man. He looks very good. He looks fast.
He's always been good and fast. It's just that the touchdowns would get vultured away. Like last year, he scored 0 touchdowns. That's what killed him. Like if you look at the rankings, like the standings, and just sit there and say, okay, what if he scored 1 touchdown? What if he scored 2? What if he scored 3? Just moves right up that line, So sometimes that's out of your hands, but this year they're using them in that area, so I'm interested.
John Luke, I like it. Let's throw Miles Sanders in there at 7,800. And I got my quarterback wide receiver stack for you guys. It's a player we talked about a little bit earlier. I think you can save some money on the quarterback this week and target a defense that's been pretty bad against quarterbacks and wide receivers in your stack here. I'm throwing Mike White in as my quarterback going against the Detroit Lions. I love the matchup. And then where I'm going right now, I'm going to put Elijah Moore in there. Elijah Moore is sitting at 5,600, Corey Davis at 5,700. Under the contingency, if Corey Davis plays, I'm swapping Corey Davis in instead of Elijah Moore, right? But as of right now, my stack is going to be Mike White, and we're going to save some money, not throw Garrett Wilson in there. He's sitting up there at 7,800, Mike White at 7,000, and we're going to get Elijah Moore, Corey Davis at a discount. So I've got Mike White and Elijah Moore as my quarterback wide receiver stack in this beautiful matchup against the Detroit Lions.
Now,
how does that make you feel, Coop?
To be honest, I might keep Elijah Moore in there even if Corey Davis plays.
You think so?
Because, yes, there are some sharp analysts out there. One of them that we do like is Josh Larkey. He's a very analytical guy, and he says that Elijah Moore played 78% of his snaps from the slot in week 14. That wouldn't change if Corey Davis came back. Corey Davis, of course, plays split end. He doesn't really line up in the slot. So Elijah Moore's playing in the slot. Maybe he plays fewer snaps if Corey Davis is playing, but he does play a ton of snaps in the slot. The Lions this year, given up league-leading 24.9 fantasy points per game to slot wide receivers. So Elijah Moore is kind of in a wheels up situation regardless in this particular matchup.
I like it. I like it. So far we've got Mike White plus Elijah Moore going against the Lions. We've got Miles Sanders in at running back going up against the Chicago Bears as our core lineup so far. What's up, Joe?
What's Garrett? Garrett Wilson's price is 7,800. So
right,
that makes sense.
That's why I went the other way. I didn't think it was worth paying up that much whenever these guys are playing such high snap share right now.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson has just been so consistent, which is nice to have that safety. But I like the discount here.
Yeah. So I have two possible plays here. Both of them are crowd pleasers on this show. So I don't think you're going to be disappointed either way. The first one is going to be Greg Dulcich. He's 5,600. Yep. So I feel like Simon's going to be very pleased with either one of these options. So Greg Dulcich, 5,600. So Russell Wilson's still in concussion protocol, but that doesn't really matter as much to me because the last time the Ripper was quarterback for this team, Brett the Ripper threw the ball 9 times to Greg Dulcich. Right? There's no Cortland Sutton. He's playing a ton of snaps at wide receiver. Nathaniel Hackett said that he creates mismatches when he plays wide receiver, and he gets the Arizona Cardinals, who are arguably the worst team in the league versus the tight end. It's either them or Seattle. So the matchup is there. It's looking pretty good. I'm going Dulcich 5,600. That's my top pick. But if you want to pay down just a little bit, this is where I do like to sneak Chig Okonkwo into lineups because there's too many situations. I know, pandering to Simon on these picks, but there's too many situations where I'm not starting Chig this week because I can't trust him in my regular redraft leagues because of his snap share, right? But he gets the Chargers. The game has shootout potential. The Chargers are not particularly good versus the tight end. Derwin James didn't play last week. If Derwin James doesn't play, I need to make at least one lineup with Chig in it just for the upside. He's even playing 50% of the snaps. He's getting like 5 targets a game. He scored a touchdown last week. If they just say, hey, you know what? Let's go crazy with Chig, could be wheels up. So my main play is Dulcich, but I'm going to sneak Chig into a couple lineups, I think.
Would you dare put Chig, play both of those guys, the double tight end? That's not always a winning strategy.
If I would do it if it's a smaller league, like if you're playing a league with your buddies and it's like 12 teams, winner takes all, or if you're playing a small cash game or head-to-head games where you really, really like a lot of the chalk matchups, say you want to get a lot of the big dogs. So you want to start Derrick Henry, you want to start a lot of the big dogs. They've got a good floor, but I don't think you get a high enough ceiling with 2 tight end sets most times because in a lot of cases you're either paying too much to get 2 tight ends in your lineup, or you're not giving yourself a high enough ceiling. Like the odds of picking the 2 highest scoring tight ends isn't that good. And at the end of the day, with the big tournaments, all that matters is scoring the most points.
Yep. And there are weeks where the number 1 scoring tight end scores 14 points, like 14 PPR points, where like just no matter who you picked, that's your ceiling at the tight end position.
So are we going with Chig or Dulcich for the tight end spot? Dulcich, okay.
Yeah. But I just want to throw Chig out there because like I encourage people to make a lineup with Chig in it. You know, make multiple lineups is what I'm saying. But Dulcich is the go-to. He's the rock solid one.
Yeah, I like that. I like it too. I think you were flirting with me a little bit, Coop, with your picks. Chig and Dulcich. You were just like, what could I say to like spark some joy in Simon's life this morning?
I pander to Simon. I'm just like Rashad White.
I want to propose to the group here a player. He's a little more on the expensive side. It's AJ Brown at $8,200, and I feel like to me, out of all these wide receivers that we could pay up for, and the receivers who are similarly priced, I feel the most confident in his ability to perform this week. So this is more of we need that baseline. Let's raise that baseline. We have these differentiators with Elijah Moore, with Dulcich, with Mike White. I think we need some stability here. So AJ Brown going against the Chicago Bears. What do you guys think?
Are you worried at all that like the game script for success for Miles Sanders is counter to the game script for success for AJ Brown? Since we have Miles, like, are we betting on 2 different? Example, didn't I? Are we betting on 2 different game scripts here by putting AJ Brown and Miles Sanders in there. I'm not saying that's the case. There have been plenty of big tournament winning lineups that have the running back, the wide receiver, and the quarterback from the same team, right? But we've got Miles Sanders in there. And I feel like in my mind, when I was looking at that, part of that play was they could just run all over these Bears. Jalen Hurts may not need to chuck the ball very much. But that may not be the case. Maybe this, if it has shootout potential, then you want all the pieces in here.
I mean,
it's a great point, Simon. That is a great point to bring up. I was trying to look up there. So they're 50%.
Didn't our one very own, very handsome superstar, Mike White, chuck it all over the Bears? 300 yards and 3 touchdowns just a couple of weeks ago.
Indeed, he did.
So just looking at the game logs and plays run by the Eagles split between rushing and passing, it's been fairly consistent. They're about running 50% run plays, 50% pass plays. And so it's split right down the middle, which is better for the Eagles than we've seen. Still not passing a ton, right? That hasn't really changed. Although over the last 2 weeks against Tennessee, they had 43 passes, which is 7th that week amongst all NFL teams. But they're averaging around the higher teens, lower 20s, it seems. That's kind of where they live in terms of stats. So it's a really good point, Simon. I don't know that it would stop me from putting this lineup, but it might be just enough to do it. I'm okay taking AJ Brown out if we feel like that's counter.
Oh, I think AJ Brown's a good play this week. And I was just bringing up like something that could be like in our lineup, how we're building it.
Yeah,
is this going against the narrative that we're setting for our lineup? Because you want to follow kind of the same narrative, at least within a game. That way, just that one thing has to go right. Right. But that being said, you guys both brought up valid points. We've seen the Bears get shredded through the air multiple times. The Eagles, even though they look like maybe this is a team that could just run all over opposing defenses, they seem to be more balanced than maybe we think they are, just looking at them without looking at the actual numbers. I'm cool throwing AJ Brown in there.
And one thing about that is that when you pay down for Mike White and you pay down for Elijah Moore and you pay down for Greg Dulcich, you have a lot of money to play with. Like I just plugged in Mike White, Miles Sanders, Elijah Moore, AJ Brown, Greg Dulcich, and then I just took like the middle level defense. Like I just scrolled down to, whoever was in the middle area, which is like kind of Tampa Bay, Jets, Panthers, that group. Like you can start the Panthers, for instance, against Pittsburgh and possibly Mitch Trubisky. You would still have $7,200 on average to spend on your RB, wide receiver, and flex. That's plenty of money to continue putting stars in there. Like you could put another, if you can find one more guy,
Derrick Henry in there potentially at 8,900, and then spend down at the other ones.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that hard. So I don't mind it. You got to pick some studs somewhere. So I like that play.
There's a scratch play this week that I think I would want to get in there though, and that's Isaiah Pacheco going against the Houston Texans, the running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Houston Texans get absolutely shredded on the ground by opposing running backs. Isaiah Pacheco is the guy who's going to be doing the between the tackles work. Jerick McKinnon getting the work through the air. But I love Isaiah Pacheco as a start this week. And he's down at 7,600. So again, that's not very expensive. Gives us some room with some of those other players there. We could probably fit him and a Derrick Henry in, and a CeeDee Lamb, one of these top tier options.
So we have a wide receiver, a flex, and a defense left to fill, right? And 18,200
I just threw the Panthers in there. We have a running back, a wide receiver, and a flex. Unless we picked another running back already.
Sanders, Pacheco.
Oh, I hadn't thrown Pacheco in there yet. Was waiting on approval from you guys if you guys like Pacheco this week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like Pacheco's great. I have a great defense option here. I'm not sure why they're priced so low in this situation, and they're probably going to be the chalk across the board. But I don't see why we wouldn't start the Denver Broncos defense this week.
Arizona.
Their offense has already been bad, and now they have Colt McCoy. And Denver's defense has been one of the best in the leagues. I mean, we talked about how they've let up like 18 points per game, and it's been the offense that's let them down. So I have no problem starting a defense like that against a backup QB, and they're 3,700. Let's see, there's only 6 defenses that are cheaper, and you're not going to start like Jacksonville versus Dallas or the Falcons versus Saints. So I like the Broncos a lot at 3,700. I feel like that's a pretty reasonable price that we can do a lot with the rest of this lineup.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I wonder if they're priced low because they just feel like they're gonna make it work with DeAndre Hopkins and Marquise Brown. Like their skill position players are still there and are still good. I wonder if that's how FanDuel is looking at it.
Yeah, I'm probably, that it's just a bad team, and that also part of it's very helpful to your defense if the offense can sustain long drives. And the team was already bad with Russell Wilson. Now they're playing without him. If the defense ends up on the field too often, they can be gassed, and that can be a problem. But I don't know. I don't like spending up on defense. So at that level, I think the Broncos are about as good as you're going to get.
I agree. And I'm looking at this for our options for our last two spots. We've got an average of 7,250 remaining per player here with that. And part of me sitting there going like, man, I want to throw a Derrick Henry in here. Like Derrick Henry's got the matchup. But then I look at what we'd have left. We've got like 5,600 left. The kind of guys we'd be having to start then are like a Gerald Everett, a Rashid Shaheed, someone in that range. And I'm not sure I feel comfortable throwing another one of those players in there when we could get someone like Mike Williams at around 7,200, which is where he's priced, and still have money left over.
The problem with the $5,600 price point is that we already took the two players exactly 5,600 that are great. Elijah Moore is exactly 5,600. Greg Dulcich is 5,600. So we were kind of already pulled everything from that well.
Right. Yeah. I scrolled down there and I was like, ooh, oh yeah, he's already in the lineup right there. JL, are there any players that stand out to you? I'm scrolling and I see Mike Williams as a player with a great matchup, potential shootout with Tennessee, where I would love to get Mike Williams in there. He showed up last week. Any others that jump out to you?
If you put Mike Williams in there, then you're looking at you have 7,300 remaining, JL, in the flex.
That's a decent amount. That's enough to work with. I'm cool throwing Mike Williams in there. I think that's a solid play.
Simon asks a dude with a Mike Williams jersey if he likes Mike Williams. The answer, surprisingly, yes he does.
Absolutely.
We all just use this game as an opportunity to flirt with each other by proposing players that we know the other people like.
JL's like, well, I know we would have
Waller.
He's like, I know we would have $3,000 left over, but I'm going to go with Evan Ingram here.
So $7,300 left. We just need to fill this flex spot. Where do you guys want to go with this?
Now we also, because when we talked about, as we've talked through this lineup, like what I sometimes do, and I know it's a dangerous game because you can regret it later, but when we talked about going through the lineup, the one spot that we were like, okay, if we have to pivot somewhere, I say we take one of the Eagles out, just because we kind of talked about a narrative of why that might not give us the highest upside. Yeah. But if there's anybody we like here, what I end up doing is I don't like to take the guy out. Instead, what I'll do is I'll make one lineup and then I'll make a different lineup, because I get the FOMO so hard about DFS. Nothing gives you the FOMO more than DFS, because in your mind you're like, oh, I almost started that guy, but it's really just because you scrolled through a giant list of every single player in the league.
100%.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm like, oh yeah, I almost started that guy, but I'm not sure if I really did. I really
saw them,
or did I just see his name in a big list of a million names?
James Conner could be interesting. It goes against the Denver thing. Never mind.
Goes against
Denver's the defense. Yeah.
What about Chris Olave, wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints, going up against the Atlanta Falcons? I know he's had some disappointing weeks, but the volume should still be there. It's not a tough matchup. We could see Chris Olave
doing it really.
Top 5 matchup.
It is a good matchup. He just hasn't been super impressive in the last 5 game stretch, which sucks.
Yeah.
Should we complete the great Homer Pander lineup of all time and
ETN.
Travis Etienne in there?
ETN, let's do it.
That's it, dude.
ETN. I was about to bring him up.
Yeah, but you knew Coop had to bring him up.
Yeah, because I didn't go to Clemson. I didn't go to Clemson, so I had to be the one to throw.
One of you has to submit this lineup to the Sunday Million.
I was about to, but I realized I only have $2.86 in my FanDuel account.
I would if I could.
I got it pulled up right here. I'll submit it over there on FanDuel. Our lineup, we've got Mike White at quarterback, Miles Sanders at running back, Isaiah Pacheco at running back, then a wide receiver. We've got Elijah Moore, AJ Brown, and Mike Williams, Greg Dulcich at tight end. And our flex, we've got Travis Etienne Jr., and then the Denver Broncos defense. And this is our Sunday DFS slate. Man, I like putting them together with you guys. It's a lot more fun. When I'm sitting there by myself, I just hate myself the entire time.
Too much analysis.
Tomorrow, should we do a Saturday one tomorrow?
We could
just Saturday only slate, a little three gamer. Yeah.
Those are kind of fun. You got to get a little cute with those. The smaller the slate, the cuter you got to get with the stuff you can put in there. I feel like the rules just kind of evaporate as the games get scarcer and scarcer.
You got to pick one game kind of and make that the game you think is going to be a shootout. If you had to pick one game tomorrow, what game you think would be the shootout? We won't get into the full. Maybe we'll do a lineup tomorrow. But if you're going to pick one game from Saturday that you think will be a shootout, which one?
Colts Vikings.
Yep.
Colts Vikings.
I was gonna say whichever game the Vikings are in, so that works.
Guys, it's coming up.
Like the only answer, right? Like it's a dome versus Baltimore, Cleveland, or Miami, Cleveland. Buffalo. It's like
even with the snow, I think I would pick Miami, Buffalo over that Baltimore, Cleveland game.
Yeah.
Look, Miami's been acting like they're talking big talk for how they're going to handle the cold just over and over again. Tua's out there like it snows in Alabama. Like, yeah, but not like it does in Buffalo. Like,
different snow, bro.
Don't pretend like that's the same thing. You got an inch and a half and school was canceled. And then in Buffalo, they're like pounding through 3 feet of snow just to like walk up to kindergarten. Like they send kindergartners out into like a blizzard.
They had to pound through 4 feet of snow just so they could leave the city to play their home game in Detroit. That's the kind of snow you're talking about in Buffalo, buddy.
Dudes have to just get on snowmobiles as like a regular part of their existence. Or in Alabama, like you just wear an extra pair of socks when it snows. That's the extent of what you're doing. Guys, coming up, we've got some Quotey McQuote face for you, and then Thursday night football predictions that we're going to be running through. If you enjoy what we're doing here right now, I got great news for you. Over on our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy, there's more of our beautiful faces running through stuff like we do here. We play a lot of games, and we give you that analysis that you need to help you win your league. So make sure you head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, and hang out with us during our other live shows. We do games all the time.
All the time, never not playing games.
That's it. And we answer
Front Yard
questions.
Fantasy.
Front Yard Fantasy. Games,
football.
Baby.
Games.
Guys, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show right now here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
There was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to like, track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
a 60-year-old dude eyeballing it, and then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something, and then like immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have satellite.
Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry. Couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And they bring out the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Aiyuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
And I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
And I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right? He's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
On call with Dr. Roto.
If the Giants don't win another game this year, A, I'll be shocked. But B, I'll still think that they're better than they were with Joe Judge. Much better. Because I think Brian Dable's got a lot out of this team already. And I'm seeing what this team could be. See, that's the problem with owners and general managers. I see Nathaniel Hackett and I see a guy who can't get it done. I see Matt Rule and see a guy who never should have been hired. Disaster right away. Sometimes a good coordinator in the NFL is better. I don't even say sometimes. Most of the time, a good coordinator in the NFL is better than a college coach because the NFL coordinators, they know the system. They've been there. They've played. They've been around it. For the life of me, I don't know why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. Deuce Staley's going to get a job. Somebody's going to hire that dude. When you've been around the game, you understand it. These college guys come, they don't know it.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Better Sports Network.
Hey, welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network, where we do nothing but say hey for 3 hours.
Hey, oi, hey.
Hey, oi, hey. Okay, not 3 hours. We do it for like 1 minute. That's all we got at you. And
Not
Tommy
even
in
a
the
minute.
chat
I think
with that
best we could do is like 10 seconds, 15.
of just a before people stop. I think Keith would cut our mics if we did it for longer than that. Tommy with the oi, just the letter A at the end of that one.
Oi.
Thanks, JL. We needed that from you. Guys, it is time for our game, beautifully named Quotey McQuote Face. JL, you want to run us through how this game works real quick?
Absolutely. But before I do, Nicholas had a question for us. He said, how do you guys feel about Jeff Driscoll being tight end eligible on Yahoo? Big booty Jeff.
Dumb.
That's crazy.
Shouldn't be allowed. It should be ridiculous to have that as a possibility. But if he's playing quarterback, you play him in the tight end spot because you play by the rules of the league. If he is tight end eligible, you do it. If you don't, someone else is going to.
But the downside is that he might not start, or he might split snaps. He might do nothing. It's a dicey move. I think there's a line. It falls under the same category as Taysom Hill. Like in any sort of PPR, there's certain guys you got to play first, and then there's a line where you just say, "What the hell? Why not?" Right? So it goes in the same category as Taysom Hill. Just know that this is the fantasy playoffs. It's I said it on the Fantasy Alarm podcast, but starting guys like Taysom Hill and Jeff Driscoll, planning to start them 3 games in a row, is the closest thing you can come to playing Russian roulette. Because it's not about the games where he doesn't let you down. It's about the one where he does. And when that gun goes off, your season's over. So if you start Jeff Driscoll and he's the backup quarterback and gives you a 0, then the only person that you can blame is yourself. So that's why I say to people, you ask me, Jeff Driscoll or Dallas Goedert, I'm an analysis. I can't analyze a backup quarterback that might play versus a guy coming off the IR that, is an actual tight end. There's no spreadsheet. There's no formula for that. That's a decision that you got to make for yourself, and you got to live with the outcome. Same with starting Taysom Hill. You know the upside, you know the downside. So
now, that being said, in a point per dump truck league, you got to get Jeff Driscoll in there because that boy has got a donk. Just ridiculous. Just big unreal. Donk. Oh my God. Yeah. It's the biggest dump truck in the league.
That's why they tried to convert him. They tried to convert him to tight end based on that alone.
Just the donk.
He has the leverage.
Craig said, are you all just taking turns running to the bathroom today? I think that's every day, right? We all kind of take turns running to the bathroom. All of us.
Are you in the show sheet?
I've never used the bathroom in my life, Craig. Not once.
Never once.
Never
once.
Never. And I would never talk about it on the
That's why my head's so big.
On a show like this, I would never.
This is a serious show. We take ourselves seriously. Scott Fish said, I played Russian roulette. What Coop described as scarier.
I
wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if not only Scott Fish played Russian roulette, but he was like, yeah, I played Russian roulette with Darren Waller and Aaron Rodgers and
Troy Aikman,
Barack Obama,
Roger Goodell.
Just doing super cool stuff. If Barack Obama asked you to play Russian roulette, would you play?
Absolutely. I'd do anything that man asked me.
I think so too. Yeah. Like if you're playing, yeah, I'm in.
Whatever anybody thinks about him, no one can deny the charisma. Know what I mean? Like he rolled a natural 20 on charisma whenever he was setting up his character sheet.
Every time.
That dude could talk most people into anything.
He would talk me into going first. I wouldn't even check and see how many bullets are in there. I'd be like, okay, Mr. President. Whatever you say.
Oop, I need you to go first.
I need you to go first on this.
Okay, whatever you say.
I'm going to need you to go first on this one.
All right, let's get into our game of Quotey McQuote Face. If you have not watched us play this before, it goes like this. We're going to go round robin formats. We're going to go one by one. I'm going to present to these guys each with an anonymous quote. You don't know who it is. They have to tell me who said it and what the context is, why they said it. What are they talking about? All right. So there's 2 points available for every quote. And just like vague descriptions, if you do not get either one of those, your opponent will have the opportunity to steal either of those 2 points by guessing it correctly. Ready, guys?
I've never been more ready for anything in my life.
Not quite as ready as that, but I'm ready to play.
Let's see. Coop went first on vague descriptions. So Simon, you'll be going first in this game.
Dang it.
Checks out.
And I think Keith has the first quote for us.
Man, a disappointing outcome, but really nothing mystical about it. We didn't do the things necessary to secure victory. Particularly how these two teams come together and the nature of these matchups. You know, points are precious.
There you go.
Ooh.
That upgrade.
That
Bane.
was terrifying.
Hired Bane as our narrator.
Yeah, it's the guy from Saw. Good Lord.
Jigsaw.
Dear God.
All right, Simon.
That was horrible.
This is your opportunity to you had to tell me who said that and what are they talking about?
I was so unbelievably distracted by the voice and the words that now I'm sitting here like I have forgotten every team. I've forgotten every team that played each other last weekend. Like every team that played against each other, I am just at a loss for who played. Points are at a premium in these kinds of games. Points are at a premium. So it comes from a team that did not score a lot of points, probably. I'm trying to determine, did the other team also score a lot of points? Yeah, can you play it one more time for me?
Yeah, let's play it one more time.
I'm kind of scared.
Man, a disappointing outcome, but really nothing mystical about it. We didn't do the things necessary to secure victory. Particularly how these two teams come together and the nature of these matchups. You know, points are precious.
Points are precious. We didn't do enough to secure victory. This was head coach Mike Vrabel talking about the loss to the Jaguars, even though that was not a low-scoring game. That's what I'm going with. There was nothing mystical about it. They just lost.
All right, you're going with Mike Vrabel, head coach of the Tennessee Titans, talking about the loss to the Jaguars in Week 14, and that is
incorrect.
Incorrect.
Damn
By
it.
the way, on both accounts. And by the way, chat, throw your guesses in the chat because we love when you play along.
And I've got the chat closed now.
And yeah, close the chat.
I will close the chat as well.
So you have the opportunity to see those. Who said this and what are they talking about?
Dude, I want to say that it's a divisional game.
That makes sense.
When they talk about the teams coming together and points being precious, like it immediately makes me think of two teams in the same division, but I can only think of two teams that played each other. I know my division that the Jets played the Bills. And I know that in JL's division, you guys played the Steelers.
What's going to be, Coop?
I want to say that is maybe Mike Tomlin talking about playing the Ravens last week.
Final answer?
Final.
That is correct. Coop.
Yeah, you got
Mike
it.
Tomlin
You got it.
about why the Steelers lost against the Ravens this week.
Go, dude. And it was also low scoring game, if I remember correctly.
Yep. 16.
That's
14.
Yeah. Felt like it. Felt like the right one. Vegas, kudos to Vegas. Once again, they had that game as the lowest over under of the week, like 36 points, and it was under. You know, Vegas just knows when these games are going to be bad, which scares me about the Ravens-Browns game this week for fantasy football, right?
Yep. When you see those low over-unders, it scares me away a little bit for sure.
They know.
Oh man, that voice is getting me like worked up. It's like scary, and I'm like all of a sudden wondering like who is that? I can almost tell things in the voice.
I'm not gonna lie, I can almost feel like that a big part of why I guess Tomlin is. So I actually. If you really want to hear my true process, I kind of thought about Tomlin and then started thinking about who played in division games, right? So I realized they did play a division game after, but I don't know, I could feel a bit of Tomlin in that voice.
Well done, Coop. You stole 2 points from Simon there, putting you in the lead. And the next quote is going to be yours. Nicholas in the chat did get this one correctly.
Ooh, nice job,
the attribution correctly of Mike Tomlin Pat in here. Good morning, Pat. Welcome in. He said Devontae Adams. Good guess. It's a very good guess.
Who'd they play?
I mean,
they played the Rams.
The Rams on Thursday, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. And Tim guessed sounds like Carr, Derek Carr. Also a good guess. Along the same line there.
Yeah.
All right, Coop. This next quote is yours. Let's roll it.
Yeah, that's as funky a play as you can see, you know. Did that ball graze the ground or not, you know? And they took a good look at it, and they thought not, but it was worth the shot. You know, the guy rolls over and there's no ball in his hands, you know.
Oh, okay.
Coop, who said this, and what are they talking about?
There's no ball in his hands. So it sounds like it was a controversial play that was potentially called overturned. No ball in his hands. Can you read it to me potentially? Or
I don't have it. But we can play it again.
Play it again. Yeah.
Let's get it one more time.
Yeah, that's as funky a play as you can see, you know. Did that ball graze the ground or not, you know? And they took a good look at it, and they thought not, but it was worth the shot. You know, the guy rolls over and there's no ball in his hands, you know.
Oh man. Let me say I can't think of a potential play that it might be tied to.
Be careful, Coop, because I think I got this one. If you don't get it, I think I got this one.
Okay.
What's it gonna be, Coop?
I think you got it. All right. Let me say, is it Tom Brady talking about an interception that was thrown on Monday Night Football?
Tom Brady talking about an interception that he threw in the Monday Night Football game, and that is incorrect. Bonk.
All right. What do you got, Simon?
On both accounts. So, Simon, you have the opportunity to steal back your 2 points that Coop stole from you last time. Who said this, and what are they talking about?
I feel good about the context. I feel iffy on the quoter, but I think I'm going to go with head coach Brandon Staley talking about the play in which Tyreek Hill picked up the fumble and ran it in for a touchdown in the Dolphins-Chargers game. That's a funky play. It doesn't get much funkier than that.
Play.
That is a funky play. And Simon, you are incorrect.
No!
On both accounts.
There was another catch that I'm remembering where a player went down and it almost hit the ground, but I couldn't pick the play in my head. So I went with the funkiest play of the weekend.
Yeah.
You guys are forgetting one of the most funkiest plays this week. And Nicholas did not forget it in the chat. This is head coach Pete Carroll on challenging Terrace Marshall's miraculous leg catch from this past week.
Nice job, Nicholas. Nice job.
Nicholas with the double point steal in the chat.
Yeah.
Love it.
So now this was Nicholas 3, Coop 2, Simon 0.
Wow, that was a funky play. I'll give it that. I'll give him that.
Super funky. Super funky. So, Coop, you're still in the lead here. And Simon, we're back to you. You ready for your next quote?
I am ready.
Let's roll it.
Yeah, I think first off, just a little opening statement. Just want to send prayers to Coach Leach and his family. He offered me a scholarship at Washington State, and didn't ever meet him personally. I mean, I did, but it was on the phone. So just prayers to his family with everything going on.
I am not sure who this is, but I think this is clearly an ex-player of Washington State talking about the passing of Mississippi State head coach Mike Leach. Unexpected this week, Mike Leach passing. So I don't know the player. I'm trying to think of a player that would be saying this. Why can't I think of a single Washington State player? So I'm just going to throw a random player out there as the one to say this, and I'm going to say that this was definitely A.J. Brown talking about his relationship with former coach Mike Leach, who passed away this week.
Simon, that is half correct.
Yeah.
You were correct, of course, on the context, but not who said it. So, Coop, you have the opportunity to steal one of these 2 points. Simon already got one of them.
So the context, all he had to say was that it was somebody talking about former coach Mike Leach, and that's a point.
Yeah, I'm going to have to talk to Keith about that one. That's fine.
That's an insanely easy point.
A bit of a giveaway in the quote, but that's
he
fine.
He literally says Mike Leach, and then it's like, so a player talking about Mike Leach is the context. That's great. So here's my thought process, right? Is that so Mike Leach unfortunately passed away this week during the week, and they usually, as far as like interviewing players, I feel like if you're getting a soundbite like that, it's probably somebody from this. I just want to say somebody probably from this Thursday game. If they're doing press conferences already, like on that level. So I'm going to pick somebody from that game, and I'm trying to think. Geno Smith went to West Virginia. I have no idea where Brock Purdy went to school. Let me guess. Oh wait, did Kenneth Walker go to Washington State? No. Where did Kenneth Walker go to school?
I don't know.
Damn, you're supposed to say.
I need an answer, Coop.
I'll say Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy is incorrect. This was actually quarterback Mac Jones. Talking about his relationship with Mike Leach. Yeah.
Gotcha. So he didn't play for Mike Leach. He went to Alabama, but
he got recruited.
Right, and that's what he's saying. I never met him personally.
Yeah.
Except on the phone.
That would have been a tough one to pull out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Mike Leach stories and videos that have been coming out this week really highlighted what an awesome dude that was. There was one video that I watched where he's on the sideline and he's running up and down. He's closing every folding chair on the sideline and throwing it down because his team didn't deserve to sit during that game. They weren't playing well enough. Or the classic Mike Leach story. This is the one that's been going around where he created a fake playbook for their game against Texas. A fake playbook that was corresponding to their actual plays for the first 20 plays of the game. Like if they were running a draw to the left, they would do something in the playbook for the first play where it said they were going to the right. He had one of their players leave it in the Texas stadium after practice, and then they went up 17-0, and it was very clear that Texas had gotten a hold of that fake playbook and was using it to call their defensive plays at the beginning of the game. And Mike Leach and his offense scored 17 points before they figured it out. Like, God,
that's straight up. That's espionage at that level, dude. That's amazing.
It's awesome.
That's some Bill Belichick-ish right there.
Yeah. Belichick widely influenced by Mike Leach. I mean, he invented the air raid offense, which is what Cliff Kingsbury uses in Arizona. Hugely influential coach, dude. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Man. Lost a good one.
I saw a random was a reporter on Twitter that was telling a Mike Leach story about how he was talking to him about intramural, like a rec league, basically, of football that he's playing. And Mike calls him. He's like, yeah. He's like, this guy who's like pretty regular stopped showing up. And then I saw his face in the newspaper. He's a serial killer. It was like what's his name? Ricky Ramirez, I think.
Richard Ramirez? The Night
Richard
Stalker?
Ramirez, yeah. Yeah.
Good Lord,
he played
dude.
football with them. Rec football.
Oh my God, dude.
Sent me down a Wikipedia rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yikes.
All right, Simon, you are down by 1 point here. It's 2-1. And of course, Nicholas is tied for the lead here with 2 as well, or 3.
I think he's got 3.
This is our last quote. So this is your last opportunity to pull out a victory here.
And it goes to Coop first, right?
Me first.
Yeah, it does go to Coop first. You're absolutely right. So I'm sorry, Simon. Coop, this is your opportunity to steal this victory. Let's roll it.
I mean, that guy loves football. I mean, he's ball all the time. Just you can tell he's so much of a relationship guy too. And we talked a lot about, my coaches in the past and what made some of those guys special, and just trying to, point out the things that make certain players and coaches great. And just being able to, pull the best out of each person is an extremely vital task. But from his perspective, he knows those guys ins and outs and knows how to put them in good positions to win and have success. And
Coop, who said this and what are they talking about?
I got to hear it again because I missed the very beginning. That guy, did you say that guy or my dad?
I mean, that guy loves football.
No, start again.
That guy.
You're laughing. That guy loves football.
Ball. I mean, that guy loves football. I mean, he's ball all the time. And just You can tell he's so much of a relationship guy too. And we talked a lot about, my coaches in the past and what made some of those guys special, and just trying to, point out the things that make certain players and coaches great. And just being able to, pull the best out of each person is an extremely vital task. But from his perspective, he knows those guys ins and outs and knows how to put them in good positions to win and have success. And
okay,
You want us to play it again, Coop?
no, that's funny. That's funny. I thought it said my dad, and I was like, geez, that narrows it down. So the context is a player talking about a coach, and the player who's saying it is.
Just before you move on, I'm going to need more specifics than that.
Why? Simon's was ridiculous.
That was as specific as I could have gotten on that one.
So I have to talk about. What do I need? I need to name the person and
who said it and who are they talking about.
Okay. I will say that it was. Let's see. Any player, talk about any coach. Let's say that it is Christian McCaffrey talking about Kyle Shanahan.
Christian McCaffrey talking about Kyle Shanahan. And that is unfortunately incorrect, Coop. So, Simon, you will have the opportunity to steal 1 or 2 points here. Who said this quote and what are they talking?
There was another piece in there that I think is a clue where they talked about coaches I've had in the past and reasons why they were special. So I started thinking of players that have had a special coach in the past that are now forming a new relationship with a coach. And I'm going to go with Tua Tagovailoa talking about head coach Mike McDaniel, and they were talking about Nick Saban as well.
I was actually thinking about that. That was one of my other potential guesses. So I'm interested to see if that's the one.
That is a great guess, Simon. Unfortunately, it's wrong.
No! I was so sure
Baker
on that one.
Mayfield talking about working with Sean McDermott. Or I'm guessing Sean McVay. Yeah.
Sean McVay.
That's a classy quote by Baker because his coaches have been terrible. Like,
yeah.
It's not been
Hugh
good.
Jackson and all those. Yeah. So nice.
So unfortunately, nobody's going to get points on this one, which means, Coop, you are our victor in Quotey McQuote phase today.
Boo. I mean,
you won. I mean, Nicholas really won, but
shout out. You know what? I'm going to defer my speech to just shout out Nicholas, dude. What a megastar. What a superstar. Thank you for joining us in the chat today. Thank you for having fun with us.
You the man, Nicholas.
You man.
This whole show's for you.
Dedicated to you. Everyone that didn't get any points or any questions right. Unbelievable.
Tim in the chat said Tua on Mike McDaniel. I think Tua on Mike McDaniel is such a good guess.
Yeah, completely wrong.
Guess.
Tim,
thanks.
Completely wrong, Tim.
Me and Tim,
Yeah,
we were in
great
sync
job.
though. There, we were
Great
in
job,
sync
Tim.
though. Guys,
I like that answer.
If you're enjoying this game, enjoying what we do here, and you're just joining us now, a reminder, you should head on over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy, hit that sub button because we play games like this all the time over there. Games about the game that we love, about the game that we also love is our favorite thing to do over there. Coming up, we've got some Thursday night football predictions that we're going to run through for this game tonight. So stick around right now. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Better Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin. He's better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo, he's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying, well, Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry. Okay, talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, but overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach, makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
how I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball's starting to bring up.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo, who used to get teed up in the 2000s, in the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at like Eton Thomas, like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over.
I guess.
I know it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that, you want to know why they're paranoid? They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not gonna start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with us.
It's one thing. Okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right?
Yeah, that can incite you. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play. What? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful?
It's interpretation, and that's my problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins a playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to mine.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We've got a matchup tonight. The San Francisco 49ers traveling to Seattle, not too far of a trip, to play the Geno Smith-led Seattle Seahawks. We want to make some predictions for tonight's game. We've got a bunch of different things that we are going to make our predictions on. We'll see how we did tomorrow. Run through some of these predictions and see how well we did. JL, you've been kind of on fire with some of these predictions. You're killing it. I've
gone back and looked.
I've run through some of the past ones, and you're killing it yet again.
That's why they call him the prop master, boys.
Prop master. I don't like that name.
Well, we'll work on it. But
do you like master proper better?
Master proper.
Master capper.
Big props.
The master capper.
Master cat. So I'm just a liar.
No, the capping is a
lion.
Yeah, well, now that can't be the new age slang, but in the sports world, capping is what they call like setting the lines for games. Like if you're
no cap, that's what they call
cap. Yeah. If you're a capper, that means you're the guy that's like setting where the line is. That's what they call that job.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. For you guys,
the more you know.
Your generation calls it's a different term.
Our generation.
Aren't you like 3 years older than us?
You guys, me and Tommy, in our generation, it's a different term than this no cap.
Back in our day, a cap was something you put on your head. You idiots.
Yeah, idiots.
What's all this cap talk going on with the youngins these days?
Why do you sound like Alex Jones, dude?
Because that's what all angry boomers sound like to me is Alex Jones.
You're a boomer, right, Coop?
Yeah, big time.
You fit into that boomer?
I just thought, all of a sudden, I love flashlights, trains, fiddling with the antenna on the TV. Hate fun of any kind. You know what I mean? Like,
big fan of trains. I'm gonna agree on that one. And if you like trains, check out the Train series from Smithsonian on Paramount Plus. It's so good. It just like takes you on a train ride and teaches you about the train and shows you the surroundings. Like, it is the perfect throw it on in the background and just like have serenity around you type of show.
I love that too. Sometimes I'll throw like a YouTube channel of somebody that's just on a train, just like with a camera out the window. And when I go to sleep at night, just like it's like very calming. Though sometimes the train's horns are really loud and it's hard to sleep with that. So if you're a creator on YouTube and you make train videos, please can you just edit out the horns? Okay, thank you.
I love like living near train tracks or staying at a hotel or an Airbnb near train tracks because there's something so nice about like the rhythmic sound of the trains and hearing the horns as they come by. Like I'm a weird sleeper where certain things bother me way more than they should, but trains, oh man, that can put me right to sleep if I can hear a train from my bed. I love it. We had a question in here from Frank the Tank. What's up, Frank? Welcome in.
What up, Frank?
He said, start Aaron Jones plus Miles Sanders over Swift, Walker, and Pacheco. Is that the right call? Would like to flex Pacheco, maybe, but I've got Christian Watson in my flex with Mike Williams and AJ Brown in at wide receiver. So right now he's starting Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, Mike Williams, AJ Brown, and Christian Watson. Wants to know if that's the right call. We did talk a little bit earlier about how we liked Pacheco this week against the Houston Texans. Coop, would you be making any changes to his starting lineup based on the info given?
I mean, I'm definitely starting Aaron Jones this week against the Rams. That's like with no Aaron Donald, that's like a top 6-7 matchup. I mean, he was banged up, but he went through the bye week seemingly healthy. Like, you got to get him in the lineup. So Aaron Jones is in for me. It is Miles Sanders versus Pacheco. But I think I'm going to go Pacheco versus Houston. I got to do it.
I think I'm taking Christian Watson out of my flex and putting Pacheco in there. You've got 3 top 10 running backs for me this week in Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, and Isaiah Pacheco. I'm getting all 3 of those guys in my lineup. I understand not wanting to bench Watson, but that's what I'm doing. You're with me, JL?
I'm with you 100%, Simon. I was going to say same thing.
100 P.
Hundo P, dog. So I can't bench Miles Sanders against the Bears.
So technically what you would be doing here is starting Miles Sanders and Pacheco at RB and moving Aaron Jones to the flex because he plays on Monday night.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. That's the move I'm making right there. Starting those 3 running backs. Sorry, Christian Watson.
Because if there's any setback with Aaron Jones, because he was banged up. Like, let's say there's a late setback and it's like, oh no, Aaron Jones is scratched. You still have Christian Watson. You could slide in there.
Slide right in.
Yeah, you're very safe doing it that way.
Pro moves. Nicholas in here wanted to know Foreman or Swift this week. So Deonta Foreman or DeAndre Swift. JL, which way you lean in on this one?
I'm going Swift. Going up against the Jets, which isn't the particularly best matchup, but we've seen Swift's usage increase since he's been back from injury. I think this past week, I don't think he did, though. Foreman's a good, but yeah, I got to go Swift here.
Yeah, I'm going Swift as well. They're relatively close, but I'm going to go Swift. Coop, you going Swift or you going Foreman?
Yeah, I got to go Swift just because Foreman has been splitting. I mean, I know he's getting more carries than good Lord, Scott. Just derail. Talk about trades derailing the show with that comment. Yeah, give me Swift.
Scott is coming in, and I watched one by one all of us react to what he threw in the chat. He said, if Ian has a daughter, I hope he names her Lillian, like Lil Ian.
Lil Ian.
Oh my God, Scott. Ian.
That's taking dad joke to the next level because it's not only is a dad joke, but technically it's also a grandpa joke because he's talking about his granddaughter of the future.
You've transcended dad jokes.
That's next level dad joke. That's a grandpa joke. That's a strong, that's a strong joke, dude.
That's the best dad joke I've heard, grandpa joke I've ever heard. I think
it's up there. It got a genuine like shock laugh out of me as I read it. Just like, oh my God.
And also you could feel it got the shock laugh and also the residual dad cringe. So it really covered the entire gauntlet for me.
I was about to say it doesn't work with other names, but then there's a guy in the NFL named Lil Jordan Humphrey, where he's got that name. I wonder if the dad's name is Jordan. And this is Lil Jordan.
Fantastic.
I wonder if the grandkid's gonna be Tiny Jordan.
I saw a clip yesterday from Family Feud where there was a guy, his name was Obu, and Steve Harvey asked him, what's your last name? He said, Obu. And then somebody said, ask him what his middle name is. And he said, Obu. My name is Obu, Obu, Obu. And then Steve Harvey was like, who named you? And he was like, well, my father. And he points out in the audience and he asked the father, what's your name? He goes, Obu. And then they cut the clip.
The crowd goes wild.
That would make my life a lot easier if my name was just Coop, Coop, Coop. Because like, only like my mom and like sometimes and my wife call me Andrew. So it's like it would just simplify things. That everyone just call me Coop. And there's no confusion.
Coop. Guys, let's hit some of these predictions right here. First and foremost, the most important prediction. Who's going to win this game? San Francisco led by Brock Purdy or the Seattle Seahawks led by Geno Smith? Coop, I'm going to come to you first. Who's pulling the victory out in this one?
I got to take the 49ers, man. If we're not talking about spread or anything, the 49ers are just too good of a team. Their defense is too good. just across the board, they're good. So it'll be a tough test for them, but I don't think Brock Purdy just has to be a game manager, right? We talk about system QB. All he has to do is not screw up and they win.
What about you, JL? Where are you rolling?
Yeah, San Francisco for me. San Francisco.
Man, we got lots of San Francisco. I think I'm going to sit on the other side of this one. I'm going to sit on the other side of this one because I think Seattle's got the offensive firepower to put up 20, 25 points. And I think with Brock Purdy on a short week, first road start as a NFL quarterback, going to Seattle, like dealing with an injury, right? He's got that oblique injury. I think Seattle can score enough points on this San Francisco defense to win this game. So I'm going to roll with Seattle here. I think they got this one.
JL, dude, Simon coming in with the rain shadow effect, trying to rain on our parade. Rain on our parade.
Animal noise bet it?
I'll animal noise bet that. Let's animal noise bet it.
Do it.
Because I get the double win if I'm right here, right? If you guys
actually, I didn't agree to animal noise.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm in. Let's do it. You try and rain on my Purdy parade like that, boy? You're gonna be making it. I'm gonna make you squeal like a piggy on Friday's show.
Oh man, I figured it out already. No, it's got to be a better animal noise than that.
How do the animal noises bets work, by the way? Because I was overseas for most of those. Pretty much.
So you'll get like an adjective and an animal, like an angsty pigeon, and you have to do your best impression of that. Give it a little bit more than just like a noise. We need like a mini scene. Like needs to be about 5 seconds minimum to get the full effect.
Yeah, it's not always exact sounds either. It might be like, give me like an ant. What sound does an ant make?
Or like a seductive giraffe, maybe something that we throw over there on that. So the next one,
who neck in that one?
Who will cover the spread? San Francisco's favored by 3, -3 for San Francisco. Since I picked Seattle to win straight up, that one's pretty obvious for me. I'm going with Seattle to cover the 3-point spread right there. Coop, you mentioned if we're not talking points, if we're not talking spread, I got to take San Francisco. Sitting here at -3, are you taking them against the spread as well, or is this where you flip to Seattle?
Nah, I'm taking them outright. I'm not flipping to no dirty birds.
Dirty blitz birds.
Seahawk's not even a real bird. There's no such bird as a Seahawk. It's a fake bird.
Is that? I guess that makes sense. I've never seen a Seahawk. I never thought about it, though.
Are there hawks that fly over the
Seagulls?
ocean? Because I guess it could be not a real bird, but it could be a descriptor for mini birds.
No, it's not.
I'm sure there are. I mean,
it's
I
not
see
a real
eagles
thing.
fly over.
There's no such
water.
thing. There's no.
So you tell me that
bird as a
mountain
Seahawk.
lions are real, but Seahawks aren't? I thought we could just take a geographic entity, attach it to an animal, and then it exists.
Seattle Seagulls.
Seattle thought that'd be true as well, but yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're more seagulls. Seattle Seahawks, not a thing, and that goes back to my beef with Blitz. That coward. Blitz is a fake. Blitz is a fake bird representing fake birds, dude. Doesn't get more fake.
Guys, I know this is rude, but yesterday I was scrolling the XFL subreddit, just like I was curious, starting to see if people are talking, and I stumbled across this trash talk thread between between the Seattle team, what are they, the Battle Hawks? Isn't that what they are? And the Vegas Vipers is the other one. And someone came in trash talk and said, Battle Pigeons are going to talk a big game only for their team to suck once the season starts. And I can't wait for
Battle
it.
Pigeons.
And underneath we see from the Battle Hawks fan, we might be terrible considering everything is being rebooted from scratch entirely. What's funny is you pretend you could possibly know already if a team is good or not. I upvoted this. You don't need less karma in your life. That's just wrong. Bad enough you have to poop standing up.
Hit him with a passive aggressive upvote. I love it.
Poop standing up, too, dude.
Poop standing up.
Reddit, man.
Like, and the whole thread was like that. I was just scrolling it for like 30 minutes, just reading. It was all trash talk like that.
Arguing about teams that haven't played a single game.
Yeah.
Matt in here saying Seagull will eat anything. So, JL, knowing that, are you taking the Seagulls or are you taking the 49ers with the spread?
I got to ride with my boy Coop here. I got to go 49ers against the spread. Seahawks, listen, I love you. You were my neighbors for a whole summer. It was glorious. But I got to go Brock Purdy, Mr. Big Balls himself. Let's go 49ers.
Animal, dude.
Animal. And
by the way, in the chat, we had some people. We had Lucius come in and ask a question. He said, lineup help, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, Christian Kirk, Marquise Brown, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Brandon Aiyuk or Zonovan Knight. So which of the a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex out of that group? Kirk, Hollywood, DPJ, Aiyuk, or Zonovan?
Kirk, Hollywood, DPJ, Hollywood, Kirk, Hollywood, DPJ, Aiyuk, and Zonovan Knight. I think I got to get Brandon Aiyuk in there. With Deebo Samuel out going against Seattle, I know Brock Purdy's injured, and we just talked that. I think Brandon Aiyuk is you got to start him kind of player for me, and then I'm leaning Christian Kirk as the other wide receiver. I know he's going up against that Dallas secondary, but with the way this Jacksonville offense has been playing recently, and we just saw Houston get into a bit of a shootout with Dallas, I'm hoping for a high-scoring game here between the Jags and the Cowboys. So those are the 2 wide receivers I'm starting for sure.
Yeah, and then I'm flexing Zonovan Knight.
Flexing Zonovan? Yeah, I think I like Zonovan. It's either Zonovan or Hollywood for me. But I think I'm going to go Zonovan. I don't like DPJ going against those corners, Darius Slay and James Bradbury. So DPJ is definitely out. I think I like Zonovan there.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
We are unanimous. And Maria asks, what does Kate call you, Coop?
She calls me Andrew.
Andrew.
We're dummy.
Dumbass.
Dinkleberry. Guys, our next prediction here, one more on the total game. The over-under is set at 43 points on this one. Coop, do you think they're going to hit the over or the under on 43 points?
I like the under here. I think these division games, they get pretty rough and tumble. I think the 49ers are pretty tough to score on. I could see this one just being them kind of eking one out, you know? A lot of short passes to Kittle, Christian McCaffrey for the 49ers, and just not a lot of offense for the Seahawks. So I'm predicting an under on this one. It's Thursday night game as well.
Taking the under or the over here?
I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna this is where we depart ways. Coop.
That's fair.
I'm gonna take over on 43. I'm gonna bet on a primetime game that sort of gets a little chaotic.
That's fun.
Coop, this is where we come together. JL left you. I come back to you. I think if the Seahawks win this game, it's because the 49ers offense struggles, right? I think it's a 49ers offense not keeping up with the Seahawks, scoring 23 points, 24 points. So I'm going to take the under on this one as well. Seahawks win in a not super high scoring game.
Friendship over with JL now. Simon, do best friend. Simon, here are your best friend glasses. Put them on.
Thank you. I'm going to take these off and put my new ones on.
There you go.
Appreciate it, Coop.
You look great in those, dude.
Thank you. Thank you. It's I got them from my friend Coop.
Yo, wizard Harry.
JL, please throw away the glasses that I gave you when you were my best friend.
I will.
Thank you.
Jose in here asks, what happens if Josh Johnson starts?
We
cry. 49ers win.
Then I feel even
super under.
Yeah, then I feel even more confident that the Seahawks are going to win that game if Josh Johnson's the starter. Maybe he was asking about with Brandon Aiyuk, though. Know what I mean? Like, are we still starting Brandon Aiyuk confidently if Josh Johnson's the starter?
Yeah, probably. With Deebo out.
Yeah. As my good friend Simon would say, balls got to go somewhere.
Hey,
balls got to go somewhere.
I would not say balls have to go somewhere. I would never say those words.
Of course
not once. No. But if Josh Johnson starts, you're probably still starting Brandon Aiyuk, but it probably just lowers his ceiling a little bit, right? You're not too excited about it. Guys, that is going to be it for our show today. Thank you, everyone who came in and hung out with us bright and early on this Thursday morning. There is a whole day of killer programming here on BSN that you should stick around for. Right after this, Moose and Keith are live, followed by Lunch Money, presented by Fantasy Guru. Then Corey, Nando, and friends there to answer all of your toughest Thursday night football questions. Enjoy Thursday night football tonight between the San Francisco 49ers and those Seattle Seahawks. We'll be back live tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., breaking that game down and playing some more games ourselves. Until then, adios, everyone. Enjoy your Thursday.
See you tomorrow.